Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. This is going to be another episode of SNTR Gaming Live, and we are breaking down new Elden Ring footage and gameplay that came from the Taipei Game Show, and we wanted to take a look at this. I also have some notes from parts of the interviews. If you like my Elden Ring coverage, make sure and hit subscribe and the bell button. Here at the beginning of the stream, what we like to do is give you a very, very quick breakdown. I also am going to redirect everybody from our morning coverage this morning. We did a breakdown of brand new Horizon Forbidden West footage as well. This is an SNTR update. New Elden Ring gameplay footage has emerged with great information from a Taipei Game Show where they did interviews and revealed information about it. I have a very quick rundown of the information from that gameplay. If you like these quick updates, hit subscribe and the bell button so you don't miss my uploads. Now, the game has gone gold, and so according to this interview, there will not be any more delays. The game is set to launch. They're not going to have any reasons to delay it anymore. That is been given assurances in the interview and with it going gold. They also talked about how character classes will not be fixed in this game. They will not be as fixed. You'll have a little bit more fluidity, and there are very, very many viable builds. Now, some of this has come up in other interviews. We're going to save this for another video and different coverage about language that they're using, how they don't want to have too much stress on the character and make the game a little bit more accessible. That is related to the classes and the various builds and solutions that are available to you, but we won't be talking about that in this video or live stream. There will be new Game Plus available. It will work in the same way that it did in the past. The enemies will have more health and be more challenging and be harder, and they have said that it is virtually impossible to 100% the game in your first playthrough. It will require multiple playthroughs in order for you to get all the various endings and different story elements to happen, and there are different endings according to the interviews that they did during this game show when they were showing off the gameplay. Now, they have talked about how there are day-night cycles in the game. That's something that is, exciting in an open-world game to make it feel real and alive with day-night cycles. And they did ultimately make the decision to have the enemies not changing depending on the time of day. They didn't want to have that be something that was like a consistent sort of frustration, like maybe you're going to go farm something or maybe you want to go fight an enemy and they're not there. They did say, however, there will be a small amount of enemies that only show up at night, and they will be harder than their daytime counterpart. So there will be some, nighttime farming that you'll be able to do if you're looking for a particular enemy or you're wanting to have a particular grind or fight, and that they appear in certain areas at nighttime. That'll be something I'm sure that the Elden Ring community will come together and have little guides and information on where to find certain people at night and where not to. There have been a lot of questions about the story in Elden Ring, and I made my own speculations that it did seem like it was going to be significantly more story and even cutscene heavy compared to Dark Souls games being a little more less front and center. The lore is there, but you got to go kind of hunting for it. You have to kind of investigate and you have to read items, and I'm very much not a guy that does that. I don't do lots of reading in games like this. But they have said in this game there will be a lot of dialogue and a lot of conversations with the NPCs in the game. We've already seen a couple of those scenes where they're interacting with NPCs and having those conversations. They said that this will have the same degree of narrative elements and dialogue as Sekiro. So if you're familiar with the flow and the NPC saturation dialogue cutscene amounts as Sekiro, this game will be similar with respect to how much that takes place. And as I said, that is more than you will see in the Dark Souls games. So we're going to be doing a gameplay breakdown on my live channel, which is SNTR Gaming. But this channel here, SNTR Updates, we do our best to bring you very, very quick updates, and we thought this was a good one with brand new gameplay as well as details from the developers themselves as they sat down for the interview. So make sure to hit subscribe, that bell button, and we will see you in the next video. And to those of you that are here, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for coming into the second show as we break down this new gameplay footage of Elden Ring. We spent the morning breaking down Horizon Forbidden West had some new footage that we were taking a look at. It was a huge morning. So many new people came in and enjoyed the morning show. If you've stayed with me into the afternoon show, we greatly appreciate that support. We think that this should be another really, really fun stream, breaking down the various aspects of this footage that they've come up with. It did it again. It keeps putting yes and no on my poll. Like, have you seen the latest Elden Ring footage? We're breaking it down live. 11 votes, and no one's clicking. So people are saying no on the poll and then not clicking on the link. Maybe you're already in here. Let me pop out the chat. It's a brand new stream, so this is a second stream and a second video. So this morning we had a great amount of people pressing the like button and a great amount of people voting in the poll. And so make sure and switch to live chat and then press that like button. So let's go full screen with this new footage here. One of the things I first noticed in this section right here is the samurai armor that the character is wearing, and they were obviously doing a bow build. So let's rewind here and see. You can see the samurai armor still in play. Do we get a spin of the armor anywhere? After the dragon, maybe. Gameplay footage, not that amazing. It was pulled from a live stream, so that does make it a little bit tough to get really, really good quality. So it does have a little bit of a fuzziness to it. Maybe we'll get a full spin of the samurai armor here. We don't. Okay, so we get a backward glimpse here at samurai armor, and they have an archer build, so they've got the quiver on their back and a long bow in their hands. And again, this was one of the first things that stood out to me. When they first unveiled Elden Ring gameplay, it was all the different armor types. So I am really, really excited to see what those different armor pieces bring with respect to your build and your different choices, because they have indicated you're going to have a lot of build options in this game. That is one of the elements about Elden Ring new gameplay that we're noticing, is that they're really focusing on the fact that you'll have a lot of freedom that will make it a more accessible FromSoftware game than previous. FromSoftware games are known for their difficulty, their punishing, and not exactly a game that you would consider to be, accessible and easy. But they're definitely saying that this will be, from everything they're saying, it'll be one of the easier ones. And one of the elements behind that is the different builds. You can see the magic casting and the bow in play there against a ranged enemy sort of across this castle area. The armor looks dope. It does. Strength's about to be OP. Equip load is tied to strength now. Can the weapons be repaired here? I don't know if they said anything about that. Pokemon Legends of Arceus is getting 10s and 9s and 8s all across the board. When's that game launch? And have you guys seen Pal World? Pal World looks like Fortnite and Pokemon had a baby. It looks really, really incredible. It looks awesome. Everything's gonna slap. Yeah, I like that fight. This fight right here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this axe. Now, we haven't got a chance to do it yet, so we're probably going to try and do some coverage about, is it going to be easier? But I also want to do some coverage about how this is a lot like Sekiro. You see there a thrust, and then this is a critical hit, and you can break their posture in this game in a similar fashion to posture breaking in Sekiro. So this is not something where in previous games you were just kind of R1 spamming light, which is basically light attack, light attack, light attack. They're saying that both R2 and critical hits will be well worth doing in this game, and you kind of saw that put on display with that great axe that he was using. Also some, look like some more weapon arts too with the thrusting that he was able to do. Big open world enemies I think are always fun to challenge. Got a knight here, so they summon an eagle of some sort that puts fire on him. Yep, breathing fire and attacking him and knocking him around. Again, magic opening up combat significantly there for what looked like a riposte or just a critical. Might not have been a riposte. Jump attacks also can be used. You saw there a jump attack. Jump attacks can be used to hurt posture as well. Again, creating more dynamics and layers. A whip. This guy's using a double whip 2 whips. Another thing to take note of here, more weapons that give you that ability to really hone your own builds. And it looks like the whip's pretty agile, but these guys got a little jump from the left on him. And the wolves that were summoned still in play. That's somebody riding what looks like a black lion. Oh my word, or something evil. Seems like there's going to be at least some regular occurrence of enemies that are on mounts. Nice little backstab. See you later. So this guy's got some kind of a casting staff and what looks like to be maybe a rapier. Another casting staff potentially in his hands as he summons his mount. Big, huge bear to the left. They revealed that bear recently in some other footage as well. Again, this came from the Taipei Game Show. We want to make sure and thank Elden Ring News, a great channel if you're looking for Elden Ring news. They are the ones that put together this montage. They just grabbed the gameplay from the Taipei Game Show, so we do appreciate them doing that. It makes it a little bit easier to do Elden Ring new gameplay breakdown for you as we sort of observe some of the more new. We've not seen areas like this, sort of a high cliffside with a bridge. There's a new axe. I don't think we've seen that yet. That was nice. You ever see those old cartoons where they're playing polo on the back of the horse? This guy's an expert. He's like, polo 2 for 1, and a nice little swing. Nice little upswing there with the axe. Some casting against another mounted enemy. This guy's got a great axe and a shield to make the combat a little bit more varied. A lot of this footage seems to be in the what seems like I think is the opening area as well. There's normal sized bears too. Good. That's all we need. The classic dragon landing. Now they showed this sort of, it's like a summonable world boss, it seems. They showed that in the early gameplay footage. If you're just tuning in to the Elden Ring new gameplay that we're breaking down for you, this came from the Taipei Game Show, and we've got it on loop here. If you're new, we do FromSoftware coverage every Friday. It's called From Friday, but there is too much coming out about Elden Ring to wait all week. So we're covering the new gameplay today. This Friday, we will likely be debating about the fact that this game is being described as being easier than the rest or more accessible than the rest, so that'll be a big debate for us Friday. Also, maybe getting into its similarities with Sekiro with respect to posture breaking and things of that nature. So if you enjoy FromSoftware games, make sure and hit subscribe. Typically, we are in this scene here and just doing a talk show. I am safe for work. So a lot of people just subscribe so they can throw me on in the background. Variety gaming news coverage all throughout the week. This is our second talk show of the day. This morning we did a breakdown of there was new Horizon Forbidden West gameplay footage that was out there, and we made sure to cover that as well. And if in the next 30 minutes I don't get a bunch of emails about the music that we played this morning, then we will switch to that playlist again. It's better synthwave, but we want to make sure we've officially got put on there. It's Stream Tunes. We want to make sure we're on the Stream Tunes whitelist. So, also on Fridays for From Friday is all about FromSoftware. I am working on my very first playthrough of Sekiro. I just recently had my very first playthrough of Dark Souls 3. We didn't do a lot of the extra fights and DLC, but we did get through Dark Souls 3. And that was really enjoyable. I think I'm going to do this, my first playthrough. Sword and board on my first playthrough. He switches to double sword here. Oh, I like that. I really, really like that. I think that's going to be something I find myself doing a lot of. And then the great axe here with the thrust. And then the heavy, just devastating. Really, really well done. Bow and arrow. For more stealthy gameplay, not even drawing aggro, just getting 2 easy kills there. They did say that stealth gameplay would be an option pretty consistently throughout the game. Open world games tend to do that. They tend to give you those abilities and those options to like avoid combat or take combat at your own pace. Here, obviously challenging some big open world boss. He does have a sword on his back that he doesn't take off in that little altercation there. At game launch, do you think they will have account security covered? That's a good question. So if you're unaware, there was a Dark Souls 3 exploit that was discovered. It was a remote code executable exploit. I believe that's what it's called, an RCE, remote code executable, which means they could take control of your computer if you were playing Dark Souls online, which many people do. You'd be surprised. It's a very active Dark Souls Discord, and very active for PvP. And the PvP and invasions in Elden Ring will work a little bit differently than in the past, where if you were embered in Dark Souls, people could invade and you could summon, and that's kind of how the PvP community operates, right? They have their standoffs. Apparently, one of the more common PvP arenas is right outside of Pontiff Sullivan's fighting room, and it was discovered that if you're playing online against other people, they could use this sort of malicious open door to take control of your PC. Now, the guy that discovered it didn't do so maliciously, and he tried to let FromSoftware know about it, and they didn't really give him any attention. So he spread the word on Reddit and the Discord, and then a video was made, and it got a lot of attention, and then FromSoftware took the PC servers down to prevent it from happening anymore. We don't want anybody's PCs getting bricked or personal or banking information or something getting stolen, because they take possession of your PC. And so the question is that going to be resolved in time for the Elden Ring release date? Now, we've been told by both the person who made the video and investigated it and sort of interviewed the person that it is an easy fix. Blue Sentinels is a third-party anti-cheat that people use when they play the PvP, and they had it fixed like same day. So, given that reality, I would imagine that since FromSoftware took the servers down, they have a vested interest in fixing it and getting the servers back up, because that's not going to be the greatest PR leading up to their launch. Like, yep, the FromSoftware PC servers are still down because of an exploit, like a PC control, like, hacking exploit. That's not going to be a good look. So, given that reality, I think they have a vested interest in fixing it, because that will be a pretty big turnoff to the PC community, which is probably a very large portion of the FromSoftware community with respect to people buying and playing day one. I will be probably playing day one on the PS5, mainly just because I feel like Sekiro runs really, really well on the PS5. There's just something about it. And then obviously I can make more characters later. I've got people here that are going to want to play with me, and I can have characters across multiple platforms. We're going to heavily invest in Elden Ring gameplay. So if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, it is free to subscribe. Go ahead and hit that sub button. That way you don't miss these streams, my coverage, or my gameplay. This is why I prefer console, less hacking. Yeah, console does have some simplicity to it that is nice. I mean, I love my PC and I love my PC games, but the simplicity of a console is definitely nice at times. This looks like a dagger and a shield build. Very, very, or I guess they might call it a short sword. What do they call it in these games? Is it short sword or dagger? Gets a nice parry there, and ooh, good slices. Very, very good slices. Looks like a very viable build. Switches to a bow, though, and a magic cast to deal with this annoyance across the way. And then a collectible on the other side. And obviously, I can't read the subtitles across the bottom, but I believe it is. It's just what they were doing this during a Taipei Game Show, and so that's just the interviewer and the interviewee having a conversation back and forth about the various things. Which that was translated. We appreciate whoever translated that, and that's why I was able to pull out some of the high points. Some of the high points in the opening to today's video. Let's see here. 2. 8. All right, we might go back to the classic then. I think that guy was using a bleed build. Okay. Yeah, it did seem like that blood effect was something extra. That wasn't like a normal effect when you slice and dice in this game. 3 crazy attacks for one guy. Yeah. Well, I think what they're trying to show off in this video is just how varied your experience can be. So mounted combat, little cast there against this guy, decides to do another cast, and it shoots him, and then he rolls out of the way, and I don't know if he switches to, no, he doesn't switch to a weapon there, just some casting. And then here we get to see, a casting that summons, it's a summon cast, but also elemental because it puts some fire on him. And it's great for stun because he knocks him there, and then he opens up the opportunity for a complete posture break and then a critical, I guess we would call that a death blow. So once the knight, if we want to go back here, once the knight goes down on his knees, you see here, because he gets blasted by him, and then that hit from the player is the stun. He goes on his knees and then the death blow. So there are avenues for complete and total posture break in this game to open up those death blows for you. Yeah, 30 hours if you just do story. I think I left that out. Yes, I'm sorry. I actually left that out of my coverage at the opener. What's good, feed? They're looking to implement haptic feedback on the PlayStation 5, but no 3D audio. And if you just do main route gameplay, it'll take you about 30 hours. Yes. Zubair is a genius with his one-liners. What do you say? Any master race that has to say it's the master race is no real master race. There you go. Wonder how long it will take to 100% Elden Ring. Well, according to the interview that happened during this Taipei Game Show, according to the interview, they said that you will. It's almost impossible to get a 100% on your first playthrough. Like, it's virtually impossible. I don't think you can exhaust the different endings, which is one of the main reasons you won't be able to 100% it on your first playthrough. Is because there's like varied endings, and New Game Plus is how you'll get access to those endings. You'll be able to go and go back through. Enemies are harder. Enemies have more health, and then you'll get those alternate endings. If that is something that you're wanting to do. Some people, that's not really their bag. That's not really what they want to do. They'll just make like a second character. That's pretty common too. A lot of people, want to make like an alt or have different characters. Like, I think more than likely what I'll do is I'll have a character on each, like probably on each platform. We'll probably have maybe even, I'm not going to promise anything, but there could be days of the week where I play with the community. And just work through, and we could do like fight clubs and stuff, and there's all kind of opportunities that we could experiment with this game if the community really gets behind it. We've really enjoyed our FromSoftware coverage and our playthroughs, and so we greatly appreciate even those of you that are tuning in today. Let's see here. Let's go. Elden Ring new gameplay. What build type will you lean toward? What build type will you lean toward, right? Weapon, magic, or both? Are you going to lean towards a weapon build, a magic build, or both? You're going to try to like intersperse both. I kind of want to know. So if you're here right now, there's a poll at the top of the chat outlining just some feedback that you can provide for us. Are you going to lean towards a weapon build, a magic build, or both? I tend to go sword and board my first playthrough if I can. I really like the way a sword and shield feels. And so I think that's what I'll do on my first playthrough. Second playthrough, I think, is when I'll really want to get into the magic. I think I'm going to like avoid magic on my first playthrough. Dual wield, I think I'll do sword and board, and then I'll switch to dual wield periodically. They do that in this video, and I really, really liked it. It looked really, really cool. He just had like a little buckler shield, and he put the buckler away and then had two swords. Like, that looked really, really dope. But I definitely feel like I want to lean away from magic on my first playthrough. I can't really say why. It's just kind of it's just how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Best way is to just keep doing New Game Plus and using respec items. You finish the game, you respec before your next playthrough if you want to try different builds. Yeah, so here it is. There's a little buckler and a really good block and spin. That looked like a heavy attack. So there's just some basic R1 attacks. But the opening attack, I'm pretty sure it's a block, and then I think that might be all built into one. No, it's not. So it looks like he does a heavy after the block, and that helps with taking down their posture, stunning them, and obviously doing more damage. Now, we've been told, some people in chat were saying it already today and from other videos, that heavy attacks are a lot more devastating with respect to the damage that they output, as well as posture breaking. Now, there is not a posture bar in this like in Sekiro, but enemies do have an unseen posture bar, and it can be broken. There was a really, really great video that is going to influence some of my coverage, I think, for Friday, or maybe just a conversation today, that really showed how there's an unseen posture bar, and there are bosses where you're really going to want to take advantage of that. You're going to want to break their posture because it's going to make a huge difference in the fight. Now, the reason that this was highlighted by the guy that made the video was, as you can see right here, he'll break his posture with this hit. That's a charged thrust, and then he gets a death blow on him. So traditionally, if you've not played Dark Souls games before, the heavy attacks just don't end up being worth it. The increased damage that you get a lot of the times isn't worth it. There were many times I found myself just going back to one-handed just for the speed and the reach of the weapon. The trade-off wasn't worth it. I wasn't getting enough health, enough damage. Now, yes, that's who I'm talking about. Ratatosker, I think is his name. I think that's his name. He makes good content. He made the video about the exploit that got the servers shut down, and he also had a video about his discovery with respect to the unspoken posture bar that is in this game and the increase in damage on heavy attacks. So traditionally in a Dark Souls game, you don't get enough damage to trade for the slower animations, the lack of fluidity and speed. You end up feeling like it's not worth the trade. So yeah, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, R1 is best. Like, it's basically all you do. In this game, that is not going to be the case. You are going to want to vary your attacks quite a bit, because the R2, or the heavy attacks, they will be a lot more useful with respect to increased damage. So they've given them more damage in this game. So the damage is worth it in certain points of time, as well as posture. So he breaks in the video, if you've not seen it, if you've not seen Ratatasker's video, I'm not sure how to say his name, Ratatosker maybe. If you've not seen Ratatosker, if you've not seen Ratatosker's video on that, he breaks the posture of a boss multiple times, and it gives the death blow animation, a huge piercing death blow with tons of damage. Now, obviously, it doesn't kill the boss, but it does a ton of damage and really makes the fight quite a bit more expedient instead of being sort of a slow chisel down. If you're joining us for the Elden Ring new gameplay that we are watching right now, it came from the Taipei Game Show, and we're doing a bit of a breakdown and a bit of a discussion. Thank you so much for being here. Now, if you haven't done so yet, press the like button. It does help the video out. It helps me out, and it is free to press the like button. It's also free to press the subscribe button. We cover FromSoftware here pretty regularly. Every Friday is on this channel is From Friday, and we open the day with a FromSoftware topic, and then in the afternoon, I'm working my way through the Sekiro for the very, very first time. And that is something you can enjoy on Fridays, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I am a Safe for Work broadcaster. Usually we are in this scene doing a talk show, but today, obviously, with the gameplay breakdown, we're in a different framing so that you can see the gameplay kind of looped over and over. We're picking up on different things and noticing different things in the gameplay, and we appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for hitting subscribe and like, and even taking our poll at the top of the chat. 5 minutes ago, the poll went up, already over 100 votes. Elden Ring new gameplay. We've seen a lot of new gameplay today with respect to magic and different weapons. What build type will you lean toward? 32% of you are saying weapon, 23% saying magic, and the majority, 45%, are saying both. So you're saying 45%, yeah, I'm going to pick both. Safe for work only, yeah, murders a guy, that's right. So thank you to the new subscribers, and if you're talking in chat, I usually try and give you that interaction, especially when I see a new name in chat. So thank you for being here. Those of you Danny Sullivan says charge spells also. Yeah, that's a good word, that you can charge spells as well to get your increased damage. And Eugene saying fully charged heavy attacks are devastating. The only thing with this game for me are the buttons. I have a habit of button spamming. Yeah, I do that in Sekiro. All the time. I end up button mashing and I get my Q all screwed up, and then I get irritated because I can't stop it. It's like it's too late. It's already happened. You know what I mean? Ferryman says, I like a bit of lightning on my weapon. Second Life is always useful. This build right here that they just showcased, I think this is going to be my build. This build right here after the map, I think will be my build. I think I'm going to go sword and board. So he's got what looks like kind of like a scimitar and a buckler. Gets a nice spin and a kill, and then he opts to get, not a kill, I'm sorry, and then he opts to get 2 swords out. I love that. I love the follow-up double sword swing. Looks very, very nice. Big weapons like this are usually not my cup of tea. They're just so slow. They're devastating and satisfying, but I can never get in a rhythm with them. I always really, really struggle with the bigger and the heavier weapons. So we appreciate you guys being here right now. If you've seen this footage, chiming in the chat or taking the poll to let us know where you would gravitate toward with a certain build in a game like this. I've already kind of said it. For whatever reason, I think I would gravitate towards sword and board, sword and shield, and stay away from magic. And I can't really put my finger on why. It's just something that I like. How do you feel about casting time being tied to dexterity again? I don't have a lot of experience with casting in Dark Souls, so it being tied to dexterity, my late game build in Dark Souls 3 was a dex build, was it not, Ashen? Because you guys got me on a katana, and I believe that was a dex build. So I guess that would be nice. So if you go full dex or strong dex, if you put a lot in dex because of whatever you're carrying, if you're doing like double swords and you got strong dex, and then that's tied to casting time, I mean, that could be nice in the event that you do maybe want to start dipping into some magic. It allows you to double dip. I'm thinking in New World when they tied focus to the new Void Gauntlet. Well, focus was tied to the life staff for healing and support, and then suddenly was tied to a weapon that could do good damage. What do you think the size of this game can be? Well, the initial install size has been revealed to be, I believe, in the 30 gig department, somewhere in the 30 gig department, which is about twice the size. It's more than twice the size of Sekiro, I believe. Sekiro, I think, is in the 13 to 15 gig, I believe, and this is going to be around 30. So that's quite large. Now, I have my own theories about their desire to expand the game ongoing. The open world and the map, I believe, will be added to over time, and they will possibly tie that to, you could either do a new game plus experience, so that way it doesn't affect the vanilla experience of the game. I think the base level Elden Ring gameplay experience, you don't want to fiddle with that. And if you're just tuning in, we are looking at the Elden Ring new gameplay that came from the Taipei Game Show. And thank you to Elden Ring News YouTube channel who put this montage together, making it nice and easy just to watch the gameplay and taking out all the extra stuff. It needs to be investment heavy. Hey, Lono, I guess Doc will be playing Overwatch with Tim today. Well, we made a prediction that there might be an Overwatch announcement today with Timmy Tenders, and we made that announcement on our split screen channel. We also had a video go up this morning about YouTube leadership changing. Those videos are going up in the morning around 8 o'clock, so before I go live over here, if you want to go give those videos some love, because they are... they're struggling a little bit. It's out of the ordinary over there, but we think that channel's going to turn a nice corner, especially once we start doing some of the live streams, which there will be a live stream over there tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you're subscribed to Split Screen if you like industry news, esports news, content creator drama, shoutcasting. We'll be doing all kind of stuff over there, so make sure you are subscribed to Split Screen. You think Elden Ring will be Sekiro difficulty or Dark Souls 3? It'll be a lot closer to Dark Souls 3, if not less than that. According to the input and the feedback they've given in a lot of the interviews, Elden Ring will likely be the easiest of their encyclopedia of games. You're going to have ways to make it hard on yourself, but you're also going to have ways to make it very easier on yourself. Elden Ring is going to be the easiest of the bunch. We're going to really probably debate that on Friday From Friday. That'll probably be our lead topic. So I don't want to get too into it today. But yeah, that'll be our lead topic for Friday. Like, is this game going to be too easy? Like, are they capitulating to the demands of the culture for, we want an easier game, we want an easier mode, blah, blah, blah. Like, is that happening? And we'll be debating that on Friday. Today, just doing a pretty basic breakdown of the Elden Ring new gameplay that came from the Taipei Game Show just a couple of days ago. And I don't know. I look at this map and I look at the way they've done the icons, and I'm just telling you, my spidey sense is tingling. They're not going to do traditional DLC. I really don't. I could even see them doing like another realm that you can travel to that will have its own map or something as part of the DLC. I don't know. It'll be a good balance. I don't think the dungeons will be easier than traditional Souls. Neither will bosses. You think NPCs can help you in this game? It's possible. I want Sekiro too. Yeah, I'm working my way through Sekiro on Fridays, and I go from really liking it to being annoyed, which I think is pretty normal for the Sekiro experience. Like, as soon as you feel like you've got things figured out, they subvert your expectations and whatever skill you think you've acquired. We just beat Owl for the first time this last Friday. It took me about an hour and 15 minutes if you include both play sessions. The first time I went in, I only was in there for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. The second time I went in there, it took me 45 minutes to beat him. And it was a good fight. It was a good fight. I definitely changed my approach and adapted pretty quickly. I think I adapted rather well to the fight. But I keep going from feeling like I know what I'm doing to being annoyed. And that is, I think that's supposed to be the common experience in Sekiro, is that as soon as you feel like you know what's going on, you're gonna find out that no, you don't. This Friday's Sekiro episode should be very good. Oh, okay. Well, I'm excited then. Make sure you're here. If you're a FromSoftware fan, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your bell button's turned on so you get alerted when I stream. Monday through Friday, I'm here streaming. Usually, let me pause the video. Usually, I'm in this scene doing a talk show about all sorts of gaming news. We've covered the FromSoftware servers going down because of the exploit, and I am safe for work, so you can subscribe in confidence. A lot of people subscribe, and they're here throughout the week, and they just put me on in the background, and they can do that because I am safe for work. You may hear like one or two swears when I play Sekiro, but that's not very common. I try not to. So thank you for being here, all you FromSoftware fans. We've enjoyed meeting a lot of you. I am not a FromSoftware guy. I'm a new convert. I traditionally never enjoyed or played these games, but I was convinced to try out Dark Souls 3. And let's do this thing called From Friday, where I try to beat FromSoftware games as a non-FromSoftware. I am not a FromSoftware aficionado. Even my fight against the Owl, if you go back and watch it, it's 45 minutes of basically hard mode. I don't use shinobi arts. I don't use the prosthetic. I don't use any of my items. I literally just beat him with a sword and my gourd. Just sword and gourd. That's all I go in there with. And people told me after that I made the fight hard on myself, which made me kind of proud of myself, because it's a tough fight to kind of brute force it, I guess, is what I did. Which I guess brute forcing doesn't give me credit. It makes it sound like I didn't do it, it wasn't hard. Sometimes brute forcing is easier, right? In this case, it was not. Sekiro absolutely clicked for me. By the end of the game, I feel comfortable enough to go up to practically any boss at any time. Lurkin, thank you. I think the ease will come with the sheer amount of options in the player's arsenal. Bow, magic items, spirits, craftable potions, flexible weapon scaling, builds in the game will be nutty. It does seem like when they talk about Elden Ring's difficulty that they speak within the realm of the builds that you have. So they don't just say, oh, the game's more accessible, more easy. No, they say that you have a lot of tools at your disposal in order to meet the challenges at hand, right? You could have been using Mortal Blade. Yeah, I didn't use Mortal Blade. No shinobi arts, no prosthetic, just my sword and my grit. I think that fight with the owl is a spirit. It's like a spirit animal of 2021 for me. Just pure grit and determination. No cheat codes, no shortcuts, and getting the job done. So yeah, that's pretty much the embodiment of who I am as a person. 90% grit. Should I get some practice in on any of the From games before Elden Ring? Yeah, I would do Demon Souls or Dark Souls 3. Demon Souls or Dark Souls 3, yeah. Sword and Salt, that's right. That's right. Sword and Gourd, not Sword and Board. Yeah. Ooh. There you go. There's a FromSoftware channel. Launch your own FromSoftware channel and call it, welcome to the FromSoftware podcast. It's called Sword and Gourd. As a hat tip to Sekiro. Welcome to another episode of Sword and Gourd. This week are magic spells cheating in Elden Ring? Are magic spells easy mode in Elden Ring? That's the debate topic for today. Our guest, Miyazaki, shaking his head at me already. What a treasure that would be to interview him. Holy moly. Have you played through Demon Souls yet? We were hoping to have time to go back to Demon Souls before Elden Ring after Sekiro, but from the looks of it, from what Donut told me, Donut's a pretty informative commenter. He's usually not here for the live streams, but he leaves good comments on my videos, sometimes pushing back and being critical or correcting, which I appreciate, because I don't know everything. And so he said that I likely have just enough time to beat Sekiro before Elden Ring comes out. I'm a pretty fast learner in Sekiro and in Dark Souls 3. Most bosses don't take me more than 10 tries for the most part. I'm pretty quick. I'm pretty quick on my feet, pretty quick learner, and I adapt pretty fast. I'm also a stubborn idiot, so those two qualities can make for, quick success or lots of wasted time. So I hope you enjoy the pure raw honesty on Fridays when I play those games. You have at least 3 Sekiro streams left? Okay. Yeah, well, that'll line up perfectly. So we probably won't have time to go back to Demon Souls. If we do, great. We'll go back and we'll do a playthrough, not a playthrough, but a play session of Demon Souls just to kind of refresh ourselves. Maybe I'll go back and whoop up on the Tower Knight and get my vengeance on him as sort of a precursor to going back to going into Elden Ring when it launches. You're on the last quarter, says Ashen. If there was an easy mode, you'd complete bosses in 2 tries. For sure. You're going to have to do more than just a boss on the remaining streams. That's okay. We don't need streams to just be bosses. We don't need that. If you're just tuning in, we are looking at the Elden Ring new gameplay that was revealed during the Taipei Game Show just a couple of days ago, and looking at all the different weapon arts, all the different weapons and the armor. We have a poll at the top of the chat. When you dive into Elden Ring new gameplay, what are you going to gravitate towards in your build? A weapon, magic, or both? Most of you are saying both. It's only been up for 20 minutes, and we already have almost 300 votes. So thank you for all the votes on the poll. Thank you for being here today. We do FromSoftware coverage very regularly. If you're a big FromSoftware fan, make sure you hit subscribe and the bell button, because every Friday is From Friday, and as people in chat are talking, they have been really enjoying my playthrough of Sekiro. It's my first ever playthrough of Sekiro. They enjoyed my first ever playthrough of Dark Souls 3. Now listen, if you're a fanboy and you don't like when people get critical of From games, then you're going to get annoyed by me. I get out the machete sometimes and I start hacking at the game and getting critical. Sometimes it's made in ignorance and anger, and I'm just angry in the moment. Sometimes I actually break down things about the game that I do think, sometimes I do think there are elements of the game that are pretty frustrating. So we definitely get into it here when I'm playing FromSoftware games. So Sekiro is hard, but when you get it, it becomes a joke. Unlike the Dark Souls games, where you can get your butt kicked by a basic enemy no matter how many times you play it. Yeah, I mean, Sekiro clicks, and it definitely feels extremely approachable and beatable. Yeah, no doubt. That Sekiro clicks. And see, I think that's one of the reasons I think that's one of the reasons I got so frustrated the first time I went in to fight the owl. It was very late in the stream. I had already gotten, a bunch of stuff done, and I was kind of worn down, and I shouldn't have gone in to fight him. But the reason I was irritated is because Sekiro gives you maybe it's not undeserved, but they give you a feeling of confidence that they quickly take from you. You feel confident. You're like, yes, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. I'm so much better now. I just beat a really hard boss. It finally clicked. I finally did it. My deflects are on point. My gameplay is significantly better. Right? Well, they take that confidence away from you very, very quickly. All right, I'm going to switch to the Stream Tune Synthwave playlist. We didn't get any emails in that last stream, so I think our channel has officially been whitelisted. We happen to like this playlist quite a bit more than Harris Heller's playlist. It's a little bit more traditional synthwavy. At least to me, it feels that way. Sekiro says, "Get good, scrub." Yes. Yeah. It's not even get good scrub. It's more like, oh, you think you know what you're doing? No. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah. You beat that boss, but you haven't touched this guy yet, right? You haven't fought a shinobi, Sekiro. And you're like, what? What's he saying? And then all of a sudden, your head's on the floor. I can fumble through Dark Souls. I have to stay on point in Sekiro. There are elements, I think, to Dark Souls that make the combat a little bit more roll. Here comes the attack, roll. Here comes the attack, roll. There are some flurries and some tricks in the bag of Sekiro that can suddenly, you're on the other end of a flurry and you're dead. It's almost like, okay, so one of the reasons I didn't like the Dancer and one of the reasons I didn't like Cinder is they had flurries that if you get caught in the flurry, you're basically dead or almost dead, right? And I think Sekiro is like that a lot. You know what I mean? I do. I think Sekiro is more consistently like the Dancer and the Scimitar form of Cinder. If you get caught in the flurry, your life is almost over, right? And so that I think is one of the reasons why Sekiro combat can be so frustrating, because you start to feel like, man, if I make the slightest mistake, it's kind of all over. I'm caught in the flurry, and then I'm half dead, or I'm all the way dead. I disagree with that chat comment. Sekiro is more unpredictable and punishing than Dark Souls. It's much, much harder and has a ridiculous learning curve. Yeah, I think people are saying that once Sekiro clicks for them, they just can go in and have all this confidence and nothing really challenges them. Dark Souls have monsters, Sekiro has monsters, and other enemies with the same movesets as you. Yeah, when you fight the owl and he's got the shinobi movesets, it is really irritating. Get Mikried by the owl and then come talk to me. That's freaking irritating. You know what I mean? That dude Mikries you and you're ready to break your controller. You're like, excuse me? A lot of people thought the revive mechanic would make the game easier. From decided to just up the difficulty because of it. There are elements to the revive mechanic, Ashen, that make certain fights easier. So you can literally, if you know you have a revive and you got a boss on death's door, you can be super sloppy. I did that with the monkey. I was like, well, I got him. And I'd go in and I'd get really sloppy and get a bunch of hits, knowing he'd kill me, and then I'd be able to get my bearings, get back up, and take him out. So there are elements of the revive that I think does make certain situations easier. Certain situations are easier because you're like, well, I've got a revive, so I'm just going to play dumb. I'm going to get some free damage on the guy. He's going to get a hit on me. I'm going to die, and no worries. I'll get up. He'll turn his back on me. I'll have enough health to face tank him to death. You know what I mean? There's a couple of times in Sekiro where you can do that. You're like, well, that's fine. I'll sacrifice myself and get back up. This is not an issue. You know? Even when it clicks, it's still demanding upon you. You still have to focus and perform. I enjoyed every enemy or boss with a sword way more than the ones that don't in Sekiro. Right, it's like the monkey. Like the headless ape, right? I don't like the ape's first phase, but once he has a sword, I love it. I absolutely love it because I'm just deflecting left and right, and it's super satisfying. I remember playing that. I was doing that and the corrupted monk, and both times somebody in chat were like, dude, your deflections are on point. You just got to focus. Like your deflections are just fine. Like your reflexes are right where you want them, but you're misreading, or you're doing this wrong, or you're doing that wrong. In both fights, in both the corrupted monk, or not the corrupted monk, the ghost monk or whatever, and the headless ape, people were like, yeah, your deflections are on point. A lot of the times my biggest thing that I do is I misread a perilous. I misread a sweep and think it's a stab or a thrust, or I misread a thrust and think it's a sweep. So instead of jumping, I try to mickery, and then I go like head first into the sweep. And if it's a thrust and I think it's a sweep, I end up jumping and getting thrusted. I think that's my biggest like moveset mistake, is I misread the perilous, and then I get very, very severely punished for it. Sekiro doesn't click. It's the knowledge of bosses that make it feel it clicks. That way no skill in the world can make you first time an important boss. Yes and no. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's that Sekiro doesn't click its knowledge. We might be splitting hairs. You might be saying the same thing. I mean, just in a different way. I never first tried a boss in Sekiro. I never found a boss that was easier than people said. That happened all the time in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, Eugene beat the Nameless King his first try. He just went in and killed him. Which, I still find that suspicious. You claim you didn't read any guides or anything, you know, but... Well, I still find that suspicious after all that I've heard about the Nameless King. Greatest anime betrayal. Greatest anime betrayal. Sus. Yeah. I'm a little sus. I know. It's a little sus, you know? You have to admit it's sus on my end of things, Eugene. Think of things from my perspective. Everybody talks about the Nameless King as if he's just like this insurmountable force. And you're like, nah, I beat him in the first try. He's not that hard. He didn't kill me until New Game Plus 3. Huh. I beat a handful of Dark Souls 3 bosses first try. For me, it was much easier game coming straight from Bloodborne. My first time fighting Pontiff Sullivan, I almost beat him. And somebody in chat was like, is this dude really going to beat Pontiff Sullivan his first try? He was like angry that I almost beat him my first try. I basically beat him my third try, but the camera freaked out on the wall and I got insta'd. I literally had him on death's door. I needed to step back, dodge, and get one more flurry on him, and he was dead. I was going to be able to get one more like swing on him, and he was dead. And the camera freaked out, and I got insta'd. Like I couldn't see what happened, and both he and his projection got me. It was like, what the frick? Nice music. Remember the Curse of Harris Heller? It does sound pretty sus. Maybe he was over-leveled. If you go to the Nameless King as soon as it opens up, it's hell. It's possible he wasn't over-leveled, but he could have been very, very leveled, right? He could have been very leveled. It was me, says Poneglyph. What, when I almost beat Pontiff? I don't know. It clicked. I remember people telling me, they're like, you can't beat Pontiff Sullivan without parrying. I'm like, huh? What? I did nothing but dodge. Nameless King was my biggest struggle, but he's my favorite boss. Don't get me wrong, Madir wasn't easy by any means. Freed is still tough, though. or fried or freed or whatever. Ooh. Fried took me like 9 hours, no joke. One of the things that people watching me play Dark Souls kept saying, they were like, you're doing great. It took me way longer to beat that boss. It took me way longer to beat that boss. People kept saying that over and over and over again. So, if you're just tuning in, we're checking out the Elden Ring new gameplay. We've got it looped behind me. If you haven't seen the Elden Ring new gameplay, this is a really, really nice sort of montage from the Taipei Game Show. Elden Ring News put this together for us, and I did a breakdown at the beginning of this video of all the things they talked about in the interview. They talked about the fact that it's gone gold and it won't be delayed anymore. Character classes are not as fixed in this game. There's more viable builds. New Game Plus will be available. It will work as it did in the past. You won't be able to 100% this game in one play session. Enemies will not change depending on time of day because there is a day-night cycle, but there will be a small amount of enemies that will only show up at night. They will be harder than their daytime counterparts. There is a lot of dialogue and convos with NPCs. It is about to the same degree as Sekiro with respect to story elements, so quite a bit more than the Dark Souls games. They're looking to implement haptic feedback for the PS5, but no 3D audio. And if you main route the game, it should take you about 30 hours. So that was the quick rundown of the gameplay footage from the Taipei interview. If you've never been here before, feel free to take the poll at the top of the chat. Feel free to hit subscribe. That way you're able to talk in chat and contribute to the conversation. Every Friday is From Friday, so if you're a fan of FromSoftware games, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I am safe for work. We are usually in this scene doing a talk show, and a lot of people just throw me on in the background throughout the week like video game radio, so thank you so much for being here. The longest it took for me to beat a Soulsborne boss was like an hour and a half for Blood-Starved Beast. Also, what's good? How are you? KJC, welcome in. Take the poll at the top of the chat as well. With the Elden Ring new gameplay showing off a lot of different builds and weapons and casting, what type of build are you going to lean toward in Elden Ring? Weapon, magic, or both? Most people are saying both. My first playthrough was a shield and heavy broadsword. I think that's what's awesome about From Games. Everyone goes through the same efforts, but it's why an easy mode would destroy that. Yeah, an easy mode would destroy all that, all of the vibrancy, all the dynamics, everything we're talking about with respect to, like, you know, different builds, different weapons, different strategies, different approaches to fights. Like, I don't think you would have that if you if you had an easy mode. Everybody would hit those walls, and it'd be really hard to, like, force yourself to keep playing and be determined. Like, a lot of people would just roll it over into easy and get through that tough fight, you know? Oh, it's okay. Careful.
Yeah, I ran into TS.
Uh-huh. Oh, be careful it doesn't come squirting out all over my face. Ta! Such a nightmare. Yeah, why would you transfer a prescription with no refills? That's like the weirdest thing. Yeah, you can't transfer a dead prescription. That's so weird. Genichiro was one of the longest fights for me. When I finally bit the 2 lives and he came back, I was like, WTF? Well, yeah, like everybody kept telling me how hard Genichiro was. They're like, oh, he's so hard, he's so hard, he's so hard. And I was like whooping the snot out of him. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? And then he comes back with lightning, and I'm like, oh, frick this. You know what I mean? Safe for work just went right out the window. Oh, did you hear her joke? Did the mic pick her up? Yeah, Madam makes jokes from time to time. The best part for me is how different things are challenging for different people. Well, you played it in the wrong order, though, Eugene. Like, I think if you would have played Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, Bloodborne, and then Sekiro, you would have had a very, very different experience and thought process. You might not have beat Nameless King your first time. You might not have thought, you know, it was easy or not as hard as everybody made it out to be. You know, when you start with Sekiro and then you go and play Dark Souls 3, which is arguably the most accessible of the bunch from what everybody has said, you went to boot camp and then you went and played the easiest Souls game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that order really changed your experience. Starting with Sekiro and then going into Dark Souls 3, I mean, that's the exact opposite of what, like, every other, for the most part, what most FromSoftware and Souls fans have done traditionally. Like, FromSoftware games came out in a particular order, and you went in a reverse order. You know? So it's almost like you went through boot camp, and then we're like, well, let me go check out Dark Souls 3. And people are like, well, that's like the best one to start with. It's the most accessible. It's the most linear. It's probably the easiest. That's why I recommend playing them in order. Yeah, it would really change your thoughts and experience. Because if you spent all that time getting used to Dark Souls and you went into Sekiro, you probably would agree with a lot of the people that, like, what the frick is this? Like, this is so different. Like, you kept scolding me the first, 3 play sessions, I think? I think it was the 3rd play session when it clicked. It wasn't like a full click. It was like a partial click. When I beat Madame Butterfly, I think part 3 is when I really, really changed what I was doing. And because you kept scolding me, quit running around, quit running away from them. Like, get in there, get on top of them, get your sword out, and get on top of them. 3 definitely has the hardest bosses of the 3. Most people say to start with Dark Souls 3. They're like, yeah, it's the more approachable of the bunch. That's what most people said to me, at least. So far, I feel Dark Souls 2 is the hardest. So many bosses feel like multiplayer is necessary. Yeah, from what I've heard, Dark Souls 2 and 1 are considered or considered harder than the others. Like, Dark Souls 3 is supposed to be, from what everybody told me, it's the more approachable, it's the easier. It's not easy, but it's the easier of the bunch, from what everybody said. I watch people run the other games and the bosses are a joke. Yeah, but Eugene, I watched a guy use a katana in Dark Souls 3 and he parried every boss like he was like he could have played with a blindfold on. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that, like, Dark Souls 3 is a joke. I'm watching an expert. That's not a good indicator. Elden Ring is on the cover of the next Game Informer. They have their cover reveal. Let me show it to you. The quesadilla is on point today. It's so good. My wife was, like, warning me about it. It's awesome. Here we go. Can I get a better... What the frick? Can I get a better picture of this? Hang on. Reveal full. Yeah, they're all low res. Because they want everybody to do like they want everybody to do their subscription. Okay, well, it's a little blurry. There it is. There's the cover. That's pretty good. That's pretty good looking. Whatever that is over there. That was new. That symbol. The problem of starting with Sekiro and moving back to Dark Souls is mechanical gameplay disappointments, and Sekiro was much smoother gameplay while Dark Souls is more variant and deep. If you guys are just tuning in and you haven't been here before, or you have been enjoying the coverage, we've been looking at the new gameplay, Elden Ring new gameplay. Smash that like button. We have almost 200 likes. The poll at the top of the chat's been up for about 40 minutes, almost 400 votes. Elden Ring new gameplay. What build type will you lean toward? Most people are saying both. 33% saying weapon and 21% saying magic. The perfect analogy for Dark Souls 2 is, but there's 3 of them, but there's 4 of them. It's just difficult for the sake of difficulty. You should have almost from Thursdays, where you play Souls-like games that are made by, not made by From, like Remnant from the Ashes, Neo, Mortal Shell. Yeah. Did you do the lightning reversal on Genichiro? Yeah, I beat the tar out of him. I was so angry. It was only my 3rd time getting to the lightning phase and I killed him. I was really angry. It killed my morale. I did not like the sucker punch. Like, my adrenaline was pumping. I thought, oh man, I'm going to beat this guy super fast. Everybody talked about how hard he was. And then he had his lightning phase and it really, really demoralized me. I got really I got discouraged and annoyed. It wasn't that it was hard. It was that I was annoyed. And the 3rd time I got to his lightning phase, I whooped the absolute tar out of him. I was so angry. I beat him with just pure anger and determination. You enjoyed Mortal Shell? I couldn't get into the combat. I just couldn't do it. If you streamed on Sundays or weekends, you could do a Souls-like Sunday. Yeah, there was something clunky. There was something super clunky about the about the Mortal Shell combat that I just couldn't get into. Bows are going to play a bigger role in Elden Ring. Yeah, according to the interview, he said in this Taipei Game Show interview, they said that there is lots of viable builds, and they mentioned bows and magic. We are getting a really, really high amount of search traffic. So if you were searching for Elden Ring gameplay or Elden Ring new gameplay, man, we really appreciate you clicking on the video and coming and hanging out with us. Thanks for being here. We always like to hear how people found the video or found the channel. So thank you so much. What do I do with the Firekeeper soul in Dark Souls 3? I forget. I don't know. Somebody in chat's going to have to answer. Lono is going down the heart surgery route with all these Souls games. What do you mean? Dark Souls 2 is nice, but ruins the game experience with bugs and glitches that can be game-breaking. I've heard that Dark Souls 2 is the most annoying out of the bunch. I saw someone say certain areas in Dark Souls 2 are like the first phase of the boss fight at the end. I couldn't agree more. Depending on what you do to the boss, it could be harder or easier. It's odd for people to say Dark Souls 3 is the easiest. People had 3 games under their belt by the time they got to 3. So, of course, they know how to build. They were familiar with the formula. Bosses are heads and shoulders above everything in Demon Souls DS1 and DS2. So, I mean, everybody told me to start with Dark Souls 3, so it's weird for you to say that. What they say about bows? So it was a part of the interview where they said that there will be lots of viable builds in the game and that bows and magic will be very, very prevalent. They were saying that character classes are not fixed and there's many viable builds, and then they referenced magic and bows being part of the viable builds that are available. Akuda Papa says Dark Souls 3 is the hardest. However, 1 and 2 are harder because of their combat systems are much more difficult. So you're saying the difficulty of 1 and 2 is not in the actual true difficulty of the game, but in the combat systems themselves being difficult? I also heard a lot of the bosses in Dark Souls 2 can be kind of cheesy. The real answer is start with Bloodborne. You know, it's funny, Danny. A lot of people told me to do that. But I can't play a game with 30 FPS. It'll give me a headache. Like, I really, really liked Spider-Man and God of War on my PlayStation 4 Pro. But I ended every play session with a headache. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not some purist, elitist jerk. It's just like, I genuinely got headaches from playing those games. Bosses in Dark Souls 1 and 2 have a rhythm just like a music. Once it's the same beat repeating. In Dark Souls 3, some bosses have mixed music, kinda. I strongly believe that Dark Souls 1 has the easiest enemies, but it has some infuriating development choices like the gigantic walks of shame back to the bosses. Also, 2 to 3 wall bosses. Did you explain the heart surgery thing? No, you didn't. Way too many bugs. The older combat systems are slower and less responsive than Dark Souls 3. Oh, that's what you mean. Elden Ring has these sleep arrows just from the network test. If they stay the same in the full game, they're absolutely broken levels of stupid. They even work on some of the bosses. I would imagine that a sleep arrow has diminishing returns depending on the size of the enemy, though. You try and put this guy here to sleep, and he's probably going to get up a lot quicker, would he not? I would think. If you're just tuning in looking for Elden Ring new gameplay, we're doing a breakdown of the video right here. This footage was taken from the Taipei Game Show. Elden Ring News YouTube channel put this montage together, so we're appreciative of that work that he did to make it just pure gameplay. If you like FromSoftware coverage and Elden Ring game coverage, make sure and hit subscribe and the bell button. We're nearing another milestone on subscribers as well, so we appreciate that. There's a variety of ways to support the channel directly. Let me pause the thing here. If you've been enjoying the show here today, there are ways to support me directly. You can hit the $ at the bottom of the chat box, and you can do a tip or a paid membership. We also are partnered with 80s Tees. I'm always wearing a nice shirt from there, the shirt command or the displate command. There's also links in the description below as ways to support what we do here every day. It is free to subscribe, free to hit the like button, and free to take the poll at the top of the chat, so be sure to do that. Also, if you like hanging out in Discord servers, we do have a Discord server, and if you're a paying member with a badge and emotes in my YouTube chat, that gets you increased access in our Discord server. Anybody can use the server, but you get more access and more rooms if you're a member. I'll find some boss vids to show you. What are your thoughts on them saying that the game will be less stress-inducing, says Django. Will that take the challenge away, or will it be almost the perfect decision? Yeah, we're going to debate that on Friday, I think, because every Friday is From Friday, and I like to have a good Elden Ring discussion in the morning, and then I'm working through Sekiro for my first playthrough, and that's what From Fridays are all about. Kind of turning me into a FromSoftware fan, because I just recently beat Dark Souls 3 for the first time, and so we're going to debate that on Friday morning, but I can give you some of my thoughts right now. I think that the phrase less stress-inducing may refer more to punishment and anxiety and not necessarily difficulty, if that makes sense. I want to find those comments, and I want to read them in context to try to fully grasp what, was it Miyazaki that said it? I want to fully grasp what he's saying, because it could come down to the fact that, like, stress is not necessarily a word that I would use when I'm speaking about difficulty. Stress is more linked to anxiety, the idea of, like, if I die, it's really punishing, or I'm going to lose tons of stuff. Not necessarily like, oh man, this boss fight's so easy, it's so less stressful. Does that make sense? Like, categorically speaking, I don't necessarily connect less stress with difficulty. I mean, I could be wrong in what I'm saying, because he could literally mean, no, yeah, it's going to be easier than the other games. Less stress-inducing can mean that you don't get bottlenecked into one fight. You can go find something else to do. They also said, I believe in the interviews where he said this, he also talked about how there will be lots of builds and solutions to problems in the game. Like, if a boss is giving you a really, really hard time, there'll be build decisions and things you can do to try to mitigate some of that and make the fight more approachable and more accessible. So, he's very clear he's not talking about enemy difficulty. He's talking about traversal around the world, not being caught off guard, having tools to avoid fights. Okay, so if that's the context of what he's saying, then yeah, I'm not too concerned with the commentary. And I'll break all that down on Friday. We'll probably have a knockdown, drag-out fight about that on Friday, because that is something that we consistently have debated here. The idea that, like, easy mode would be good, or, you know, whatever. We've had that debate numerous times, and in general, I don't think FromSoftware fans ever come to that argument arguing for easy mode. I think people that have never played a game to completion and don't fully understand what it would do to the game's substance and the game's chemistry and its ecosystems, and I don't think people fully understand what an easy mode would do to the game. I'm not dismissing their argumentation. I'm not dismissing what they have to say or what they think, but I do think a lot of the people that argue about easy mode being in a FromSoftware game, well, what difference does it make to you if they add easy mode? Why does it matter? Isn't it better if more people play the game? No, I don't think so. I don't. You know, requirements in other fields and you know, only one person getting a gold medal, these types of things, like, it's not always good for more people to be doing something. Not necessarily. If the identity and the substance of the game is damaged in the process, then no, I wouldn't care if you had more people playing. Not to mention, these games don't need more people to play them. It's one of the most commercially successful franchises in existence. So I soared every chest in every game because of Dark Souls. Yeah, stupid mimics. I hate those guys. One example of stress-inducing gameplay, the long walks of shame in some Dark Souls games. Sekiro had horribly difficult bosses, but also had checkpoints just by the side of every boss. Yeah, and I really, really like that about Sekiro. I can just jump back in and try again. I don't like being like, well, gotta run through this room and sneak past this idiot and jump past this dum-dum and hopefully this guy doesn't snag me, you know, yeah. They want you to be able to freely explore the open world, to be able to get back your souls when you die, stealth around open world encounters, etc. From what I can gather, the less stress is about the bonfire-ish stuff you can set up, that you can use more summons and to ease of more builds. Yeah. It's not necessarily intended to be easier. I think people are probably reading into those statements on either side of the spectrum. There are people that are probably reading into it and they're hopeful for an easy mode, and then there are probably people reading into it and being like, you better not be doing easy mode. Yeah. Because there's definitely people, I think there's definitely people on both sides. Folks that want it, folks that don't, you know, folks that think it would be good, folks that think it would be bad, folks that don't really care, you know, things like that. Season 1 Genji is back. So Tatman is just tweeted about him and Doc. They'll be playing Overwatch together. So could be a big Overwatch announcement today. We made a prediction video about that yesterday. So the Steam Deck is launching on February 25th. Start sending invites shortly after 10 on February the 25th Pacific. Order emails have been sent to the same that reservations were made. So the Steam Deck officially going on sale on February the 25th. That's some other gaming news that has just hit. I was the guy in every meeting saying this is stupid. Was the Overwatch League and the Purple Deal a good idea? DJ Wheat didn't think so. I mean, he's calling them out. He was in every meeting saying it was stupid. Yeah, he was also one of the guys that really pushed back on a lot of their anti-community movements and pushes and over-monetization, but they didn't listen to him, so... I think it'll be a good balance. Casually strolling around, exploring juxtaposed against stressful enclosed areas and surprised encounters. Yeah, I think that's something that people need to consider is a lot of the times the stress and the anxiety and the frustration of some of these environments in Dark Souls. Like, you guys hear me rant about it all the time. Like, don't make me fight a salad shooter in a closet. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's so annoying. They did that with the Dancers of the Borealis in at least 2 different locations. They're like making you fight in a super small area, and the speed of the character is not doesn't work well around the small areas. The camera freaks the frick out. They did that a couple of times in Sekiro. Like, I couldn't see what was happening. I was literally deflecting a guy. I was doing it, but I couldn't even see my character. Like, I was against the wall. I was against the wall and couldn't even move. But I was doing it because I was literally just having to watch the swings. In an article to The Verge, it seems like YouTube might be looking to getting into the NFT game as a source of revenue for creators. Not sure how viewers will respond to this. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. Just, I want gifted memberships in a live chat that's not garbage. Like, can you do that before you get into all this NFT nonsense? Like, that'd be my hope. Dancer of the Borealis, I'm gonna steal that. Isn't that what he's called? Dancer of the Borealis, whatever. Those stupid guys I ran into at least 2 of them. The one you run into, you like take an elevator down and there he is. And then there's the other one where like he's literally down in a closet. Like, he's down this super small area. It's so frustrating. The camera can't even keep up with his movement speed. The long-armed centipede giraffe, actual boss name, in Sekiro, was in an actual closet. Yeah. There was like the ninja guy, Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Oh, yeah. Dancer of the Boreal Valley. There we go. Yeah. I hate him. I hate him. Close but not quite. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. That guy irritated the fire out of me. Like, make me fight the Dancer of the Boreal Valley in a freaking closet. Outrider Knights? Is that what they're called? What? I swear that guy's riding a black lion. Dancers of the Aurora Borealis. I'm still gonna steal it. It was priceless. Yeah, Dancer of the Borealis. I mean, that's how I talk about those games though. Like, I don't know the names of anybody. I'm like, yeah, the Twin Brothers. I know Pontiff Sullivan's name and Dragon Armor and the Dancer. After that, the big giant. What's his name? Yorn or whatever his name is. Freaking stupid. Best looking boss in Dark Souls 3. One of the best looking bosses in Dark Souls 3, and he's a stupid gimmick. Dancer is the boss. Well, what are those guys called? They're Boreal, the Boreal Valley something. They're really annoying, and there's at least 2 of them, and both of them are in like small areas. Outrider Knights are the Frost Boys. Really? Those guys I thought they had the Boreal Valley or whatever in their name. Yes, I'll be playing God of War Ragnarok. Yes. We did 3 parts of the God of War PC gameplay, but it just the channel's not quite large enough to do complete playthroughs just yet of action adventure games. We'll probably be able to do complete playthroughs of Elden Ring, no problem, because we've already done that with Dark Souls 3 and we're doing it of Sekiro and the support's there. Pontiff Knights? Whatever they're called, I hate them. Dancer is the boss. Yeah, I know who the Dancer is. I don't like her either. The Pontiff Knights are the mini dancers. Really? I thought they had Boreal Valley in their name, or Boreal in their name. I swore they did. No, I didn't do any of the DLCs for Dark Souls 3. We're saving that for From Friday in the future, like rainy day when we got nothing else to do. Vort of the Boreal Valley is an early game fight, and Dancer's just up the stairs. Yeah, I know who the Dancer is, but is Vort of the Boreal Valley the guy that, like, you take the elevator down and he spins like crazy and he can freeze you? They're Boreal Knights. Look it up. Their full name is Boreal Outrider Knights. Okay, so that's why I kept thinking, okay. Outrider Knights. Yes. Screw those guys. Yes. Boreal Outrider Knights. For just every... No. I hate them. I do not like them. Yeah, Boreal Outrider Knights. Sorry. I saw Boreal, and I think Dancer of the Boreal Valley got stuck in my head. So I thought they were called Dancers of the Boreal Valley or something. That's what I thought they were. That's what I thought they were. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep is coming to PlayStation Plus next month. So that's, you're not going to have to buy that. No, not Pontiff Knights. That's not who I was thinking of. Boreal Outrider Knights. Or Outrider Boreal Knights or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they are. Frick them, dude. Vort's the bear-like knight. That's the second boss. Yeah, not Vort. Not Vort. Yeah. Boreal Outrider Knights are... I hate them. I hate them. You think it's just a small portion of Tiny Tina? Hang on a minute. Oh. It's not the full game. The full game is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. This is Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which is the one-off prequel. That's coming to PlayStation Plus. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep is not the new game. The new game is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Sorry. Yeah, Boreal Outrider Knight. That's the guy I hate. There's at least two of them that I ran into, and they always put them in a freaking closet. And they spin, and they spin, and they freeze you, and they can I hate them. They can die. Hate them. They can be parried, so it's fine. You put partied. They can be partied, so it's fine. That dungeon aged me 10 years my first time through. That's my opinion on it. Ethereal Dungeon opinions, says Roll Beast. Roll Beast wants to know what you guys think of the Irithyll Dungeons. The Irithyll Dungeon, sorry. Plot twist, they're female. Too feminine. Plot twist, they're female. Oh, they're too masculine then. That's good. That's good. Too long didn't read of the Uncharted remaster. Good PS5 port with several subtle enhancements on top of the bump in frame rate resolution. Fidelity mode 4K 30, flawless frame rate. John suspects that the 40 FPS mode in 4K could be feasible, but it's not present. Performance mode 1440 60, flawless frame rate. Performance mode plus, which is 1080 120, drops in a few areas where PS4 Pro also dropped frames. Most sequences do run without a hitch though and are super responsive. John recommends playing this mode. Why would I do 1080 120 if it dips periodically? 1440 60 will probably be perfect. There are graphical enhancements on the PS5 compared to the PS4 Pro. Higher LODs resulting in less pop-in and more detail. Some textures seemed improved. Contrast is higher. Loading is less than 3 seconds. 3D audio with headphones is impressive. TLDR of the TLDR. The remaster is better. Yeah, well, yeah. One would hope. One would hope. It's just the Bunkers and Badasses DLC from Borderlands 2. What? Assault. Oh, that's right. Assault on Dragon Keep was the name of her DLC. That's right. Yeah. Because people don't play on large screens. Yeah, I guess. But on my TV out in the living room or on this monitor, I would run 1440 60. It's not even about the large screens, Eugene. 1080 120. If it dips at different times, then if it can't maintain 120, then to me it's pointless. 120 periodically dipping to like 190 looks worse than rock solid 60. I don't think 120 is worth it if it can't be maintained. If it can't be maintained, then just give me rock solid 60. I'm not even getting into a resolution debate. I'm just talking about consistency with frame rate. That's what I'm talking about. If you guys are enjoying the show, man, smash that subscribe button and the like button. Great turnout today. We just rolled the sub count over to 10.8, cruising towards 11,000 subs. If you like FromSoftware coverage, we've been letting the Elden Ring new gameplay, we've been letting it loop. So I'll put it back up on the screen now for you. And if you've never been here before, you can subscribe, talk, and chat. Take our poll at the top of the chat, which is asking, in the Elden Ring new gameplay, we've seen a lot of different weapons and builds, like the bow right there. What type of build are you going to lean toward? Weapon, magic, or both? And most people saying both. So weapon and magic combo is going to be a big thing for most people. 33% saying weapon, only 21% saying magic. So not a lot of magic-only people voting on the poll. I don't think anything above 60 is worthwhile if the resolution's 1080. I don't care if it's stable 240, for sure. Good luck buying 120 hertz 4K TV. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, if you don't have a TV that can do the 120, you're just going to get screen tearing, are you not? A lot of TVs don't go up to 120. The demand for those TVs is low and it hasn't driven the cost down yet. Like, my TV can do 120, but that's not common. Yo, what's good, Imori? Wouldn't that lead to screen tearing on a television if you're running 120 and the TV's refresh rate is 60? I mean, I'm obviously going based off of my experience with a monitor, but that's generally how it works. You got a deal on an LG CX last year. Your TV does, my TV does, and I didn't spend $1,500. Yeah, but I would think that a lot of the people right now that have a TV can't even get the 120. So they're going to turn on that feature, and then they're not going to consistently get a 120. They're probably going to, like I said, they're probably going to get screen tearing. Some can simulate it with settings like Motion Plus. So what, it simulates a higher frame rate? 95% of the people only have a 60 hertz TV. It's the current standard. So they whoever that wrote that too long didn't read, summarizing, telling people to run the 120. Right? Isn't that what they said? John recommends playing this mode. Yeah, the 1080 120. The average person shouldn't do that because the average person doesn't have a TV that can do the 120. $120 isn't rare. 124K is rare. Oh, no, that's true, isn't it? I know monitors work that way. There are a lot of monitors that can do 120 if you drop the resolution to 1080. They can do 120. But the minute you go up from there, they can't. As soon as they go up from that, they can't do it. Screen tearing occurs above monitor refresh rate with no VSync. This guy drew on his screen with a dry erase marker to give himself a crosshair. Differences are minimal. It's not rocket science to either do the 120 or not. I'm just saying they're encouraging people to do the 120, and I'm saying that the average person's television might get tearing because it's a 60 hertz television, which is probably the more common TV model that is in circulation. I run a 120 hertz mode on my TV. Usually I only hit 90s, but that's still better than 60. And it's got really, really low latency. I mean, I know it's subjective to you, and you think that that's fine, but from where I sit, 120 is pointless if it can't be maintained. If a 120 is going to consistently drop frames down into the 90s, that's not going to look fluid. It's going to look choppy and have laggy, a laggy feel to it. If I get a solid 60, not a stutter, not a hitch, not a frame drop, that is so much superior to 120 to 90. Like if you average it out and you're like, yeah, I average when I run a benchmark of like 100. What? What's the min? The min's 90. Then cap it at 90. Solid 90 is better than inconsistent 120. A solid 60 is better than inconsistent 120. Now again, that's my opinion, but dropping frames down into the 100s, 110s, 90s, whatever from 120 looks bad. It looks as if it's lagging. It looks as if you're literally dropping frames. I mean, again, you're welcome to do it. If your eyeballs look at it and say it looks fine, it looks good, that's great. But from a technical standpoint, I can demonstrate it. It's demonstrably bad, or demonstrably inferior, because I can literally show you, like, look at how many frames you're dropping. That looks like crap. By the way, if you're tuning in for the Elden Ring new gameplay, you might be searching for it on YouTube or saw this video suggested to you. We've got the video looped here. It was pulled from the Taipei Game Show. If you're new and you've never been here before, hit subscribe, chime in the chat. We're talking about all kind of different things. We also have a poll at the top of the chat. What are you going to do with your first build? Are you going to gravitate towards a weapon or magic or both? We love to hear from FromSoftware fans. So, chime in if you feel like it. You got to be logged in to do that. If you want to subscribe and talk and all those things. I've never seen a TV for sale with above 60 hertz in stores anywhere unless they specialize specifically in tech. Really? I thought 120s were more common now. I'm not saying they're super common. I just thought they were more common. I have a 4K screen, and invisible tear in my 4K monitor is so annoying. That's why you need G-Sync. But we're talking about a PlayStation game on a TV. We're talking about a PlayStation 5. 60 FPS is my minimum now. Anything else, I feel dizzy. Yeah, I can't do it. That's why I won't play Bloodborne. People really want me to play Bloodborne. I'm like, no, it'll give me a headache and look like a dadgum slideshow. I can't do it. Best Buy has 120s? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can walk into a retail store right now and buy a 120 refresh television. I'm very confident that you can. It's probably not the majority of the TVs that they have, but they're there. Did you see that there's a 10-page article in Game Informer with new details of Elden Ring coming this Friday? Includes an interview with Miyazaki. Yeah, it's coming Friday. I don't know how to access it. I might have to sign up for their subscription so that I can read it, and pull out tidbits for you guys. I won't be able to show it to you. That would be probably against their TOS when you subscribe to their magazine. Costco has 4K 120 TVs and has for 2 years. They aren't more common now. 4K is what's common now. Until now, there was really no need for 120 until the new gen came out. Is that where we're sending people? Okay, we're back. That was a blip. We switched ingest servers, so just a fair warning, there'll be a second blip in about 10 to 20 seconds. It's normal. You might have to refresh. YouTube's doing this thing where they periodically bump us from one ingest server to the next. So you probably just experienced a blip. There will be another blip. It's not on my end. It's something going on with YouTube. It's not your internet. They just bumped us ingest servers. So have no fear. All will be normal in about a minute. You may need to refresh to get it to stop being weird, if it is being weird for you. So I am sorry. I have no control over that when that happens. It used to happen a bunch last summer, and it's happening again. I think they're doing something. I think they're doing something with the servers, personally. I think they're doing something. Hopefully it's good that they're, maybe they're making updates in the background and doing stuff that is good, hopefully. Yeah, man, that Ragnarok release date video, woo, PC release, woo, man, we got some good update videos. If you guys don't subscribe to the updates channel, you should. Our updates channel is just humming along with these little quick 4-minute updates that we pull from these streams. So thank you guys so much for supporting that channel if you do. Thank you also to everybody who has subscribed to Split Screen. That's our largest channel, and it covers industry news, esports, content creator drama, and it will be getting some, live streams this week. So we greatly appreciate you guys supporting that as well. I could go into my Walmart and Target TV section right now, and I know there would be not a single 120 hertz TV there. I know that's wrong, though. I know that's wrong. Okay, Target.com, all right? 120 hertz gaming TV, all right? Okay? In-store pickup. This one's in stock in Jeffersontown. An LG 4K UHD Smart LED HDR TV let me check the stats and make sure it can do 120. True Motion 120, and then it's got native 60. All right, so that might not be a true 120. Let's check the next one. A Samsung Smart 4K Crystal HDR TV. I'm having a hard time finding stats on Target. Like they don't put them all here. I don't know what the refresh rate is on this one. This one is a TU7000 series, an HDR. I don't know. I searched for 120 hertz. I don't know if there's a way to funnel this. Here's an LG 70-inch 4K UHD LED TV. Again, True Motion 120 with the 60 hertz native. So I think True Motion is cheating, is it not? That is cheating. He might be right. I might not be able to walk in and buy a 120 hertz TV right now from Target. He might be correct. And I can't, show more. Oh, here we go. The way they have the stats listed here is just stupid. Control F 120. Nowhere on the page. Show more. Control F 120. Yeah, I can't find... I don't know. He might be right, because that True Motion is not a native refresh rate. They don't market TVs as 120. Yeah, but I'm checking the stats, and they all say 60 native, 120 True Motion. Okay, so what should I be looking for? LGCX? Yeah, I'm not seeing an LGCX television at Target. True Motion is a post-processing software that blurs frames together to simulate 120. It's not the best. You have to look at the technical specs, not the marketing. Eugene, I am looking at the technical specs. I'm clicking on the TV. I'm scrolling down. I'm hitting show more. And none of them say 120. They all say 60. Right here, native screen refresh rate, 60 hertz. That's not marketing. That's a technical spec on Target's website. I can't... Hang on. Native refresh rate, 60 hertz. Here's another one. Go down. Show more information. Screen resolution 4K, native screen refresh rate, 60 hertz. Look for True Motion 240. Check the LG C1. LG C1. No. I'm not seeing an LG C1. Oh, because they're only showing the 4K refresh rates. Oh. Give me the TV models? Okay, I'll give you one here. There you go. That's one of the ones that does the True Motion native. Native is 60. There it is in chat. The 70-inch class 4K UHD Smart LED. It's a 70 UP 7070. Look for True Motion 240. Yeah, none of them say True Motion 240. Haven't been able to tune in as often as I did. If I can only join one channel, which do you prefer, split screen or gaming? Just keep it here, Buddha, because we do more live streams here, so it's always good to have more badges and emotes in this chat. But whichever's more convenient for you. So, I mean, I just went to Target and searched for TVs and then said in-store pickup just to see, do they have anything that can do 120? It's, again, like Eugene's saying, they're all giving me the stats as if it's just it's just all 4K. Yo, what's good, Ryan Gaming? If you guys are tuning in for Elden Ring new gameplay, I got it looped behind me. We've been checking it out today. Make sure and hit subscribe if you want to talk in chat. Take the poll at the top of the chat. We want to know where people are gravitating towards with their builds. Are you going to gravitate toward a weapon, magic, or both? Most everybody is saying both. January 7th, 20 days and still nothing. Gee, they aren't common for the average consumer. I fully stand by and stay cemented on my point. It's not common outside of tech stores. The average family does not have above a 60 hertz TV. Well, we weren't talking about if families have them. We were saying, like, you were saying I can't go to the store and buy one. And I was saying, I'm pretty sure you can. They have them, right? You can go in and buy a TV that can do 120. As long as you lower the resolution. True Motion's awful in gaming. Oh, I'm sure. It probably looks like frickin' motion blur. I hate motion blur. I just came back from a smoke. I had to check if I was tuned into whattv.com. Most of the Best Buys near me have them in stock. That's what we were saying. Like we were saying, Costco, Best Buy, Target, if you want to go in and get a TV that can do 120, you can right now. That's what we were saying. Look at my point above. You aren't walking into the store and buying a 120 at most locations. Right, and that's what we're trying to prove right now, is that a lot of these TVs can do 120. They can't do 4K 120, but they can do 120. So maybe we're ships passing in the night here. We're saying they can do 120. Are you saying they can't do 4K 120? Ratings.com said that 1080 or 1440 can do 120 on the model that you found. Yeah, so right there's a perfect example. I can walk in right now. There were a handful of TV models that all had the same stats, and according to what Siegemaster found, they can do 120. You just got to lower the resolution, which is that's pretty basic. That's true on a lot of monitors as well. If you want to get the 120, you got to lower the resolution. Not on all monitors. I'm just saying some of the models that introduced that those faster refresh rates, you had to lower the resolution. I thought Target only sold food. They actually sell less food than everything else. Food's like one section off to the side. I'm saying there are 60 hertz TVs, period, only capable of 60 hertz refresh rates. No, well, okay, yes. A lot of the TVs, yes, are 60. The point that we were disputing was you said, unless it's a tech store, you can't go in and buy a TV capable of 120. We just found one at my local Target that does just that. I can get it to do 120. You're looking online. Ask her what to check next time she goes to Target. I did in-store pickup. It was said it was in stock at the Jefferson, at the one that's like 10 miles, not 10 miles from me. Yeah, 10 miles from me. It literally said they had them in stock right now. I can go in and buy one. It said that. The model that Siegemaster checked on. He said that it could do 120. I believe most, if not all, OLEDs do 120. If you're checking the Target, go under categories, electronics TVs, down to either OLED or gaming TVs. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of them in front of me, and Siegemaster grabbed the top one, the one that said was in stock right now, and I could go buy, and he said that he looked it up, and yeah, it can do 120. They advertise it as 4K 60, but it can do 120. Which is what we were disputing. Like, I feel like we're either splitting hairs or passing in the night. That right now, you can go to Target, Best Buy, or Costco and buy TVs capable of 120, and that's what was stated, was that you can't do that. That, no, you can't. You can't go into a retail store and buy a TV capable of 120. And that's what we were pushing back on. We're like, no, yeah, you can. They have them. Unless you meant 4K 120, which, I mean, yeah, you're probably right. 4K 120 is a completely different animal, and that's not what we were talking about. I'll make a video for you if you want. I'm confident. Confident of what? That I don't know how to use a freaking website? I just went to Target. And they had one in stock that's capable of 120. So we're wrong? And the website's wrong? And the website that Siegemaster checked is wrong? I don't understand. That LG model cannot do 4K 120. It does not have HDMI 2.1. So if you want 4K 120, you need... Yeah, we weren't talking about 4K 120. We were just talking about TVs capable of 120 refresh rate as a stat. An actual, like, having a television that can do 120. Do you want to know why we were saying that? Because the Uncharted game does 1080 120. Which means you would need a TV that can do that. And from what we're checking, these TVs can do that. They can do 1080 120. We were told, no, you can't go into a retail store right now and buy a television that's capable of 120. Elden Ring will only do 60? Yeah, Elden Ring's capped at 60 until the modding community gets their hands on it, but yes. Right now, if I go buy that television that Siege Master checked on, and I get my PlayStation 5, and I get the Uncharted Remastered Collection in 2 days, I believe it is, and I set it to 1080 120, that television from Target can do it. The TV I had before I upgraded to 4K 120 was 120 1080, and it's 6 years old. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like, 120 isn't the issue. 4K 120 is super, super rare. I love how we equate modders to a force of nature. You have to be stuck in 2017 if you think you can't go get a 120 hertz television. It's possible that we completely passed in the night here, and he was talking about 4K 120, which is probably true, extremely rare and hard to find. But we weren't talking about that. We were talking about just the sheer raw ability to do 120 hertz, because we were talking about 1080 120 in the Uncharted game. That LG doesn't have a 1080p refresh rate listing. Yeah, Siege Master checked it on a website. He checked the model number and it said it could do 120. Ooh. The LG 9 series, which came out in 2019, has been able to do 4K 60, 2K 120 since they released. Their X models and their 1 models, released in 2020 and 2021, can do 4K 120. Did they sell them in retail stores? That was the main dispute, was like, you can't just walk into a retail store and buy something capable of 120. Even 4K 120 isn't rare or hard to find, it's just not ubiquitous yet. Well, I couldn't find any 4K 120s at Target. They were all True Motion. They were all cheating. So I couldn't find any native 4K 120s. But all the TVs I found were capable of getting 120 from a lower res, which is, I thought that's what we were disputing and debating. You can buy them at Best Buy? Yeah, I mean, Target might not be the best place to go, I mean, for advanced televisions. Best Buy might be your better bet. I mean, they're more likely to cover or carry some you know, cutting edge television. I can walk into Costco right now today and have 5 options. There's also the false HDMI 2.1 claims, although I'm not sure it is also on larger brands, but just claiming HDMI 2.1 doesn't equal HDMI 2.1. The hardest part is that TVs didn't used to advertise refresh rates. It's new for televisions. Well, sure, most of them are advertising 4K. 4K is the lingo that everybody's thinking. They got to go get a TV. Well, it's got to be 4K. It's got to be 4K, right? Like, you could probably ask the average consumer to explain that to you, and they couldn't tell you. Why would I be talking about 1080 120? My store already has a 40-inch and less than 1080, and they're all 60 crappy brands. But we were specifically saying that there are televisions right now capable of 120 in more homes than we originally thought, because we were talking about Uncharted being able to do 1080 120. Because I said, why would anybody do 1080 120? Aren't most televisions 60 hertz? That will give screen tearing. And then Eugene and other people said, no, most televisions sold in the last 4 years or so can do 120. You just can't do 4K 120. And so when you said, no, you couldn't even go into a store right now and buy a TV capable of 120, that's the conversation that you were jumping into, was that we weren't talking about 4K 120. We were talking about just the ability for a TV to do a 120 refresh. Is it even technically capable of doing it? And you were saying, no, you couldn't. I couldn't walk into Target or Costco or Best Buy and buy a TV right now capable of 120. Even if you were talking about 4K 120, you're also wrong, because this guy just said, yeah, no, he can go to Best Buy right now and buy a 4K 120 TV. They have them. According to what he said, they started making them last year and the year before. Or started selling them, I should say. I watched the animated movie Bigfoot Family with my little nephew in 4K. It was absolutely beautiful. Why would the average cost consumer spend more on a 120 1080 TV? They'd have no reason to. I don't believe it's that common either. Well, no. It's that TVs sold in the last 3 to 4 years are capable of doing it. That's what people are saying. That's what people are saying. Like, when I said what I said, I was mistaken that a lot of these TVs have what Eugene's saying, variable refresh rates depending on resolution for the last 5 years. Yeah, the true motion's not. It's like, it's going to look motion blur though, Zubair. But can we see 120? Yes, you can. TVs have had variable refresh rates depending on resolution for 5 years. I specifically said not places like Best Buy several times. They obviously would have things Walmart would have Walmart or Target. That is a store that specializes in tech, which I also said not talking about. Yeah, but I mean, Eugene's saying he can go get one right now at Costco. That's not really a tech store, is it? When people were buying 4K 60 TVs, those TVs are at the same time capable of 120 1080. Yeah, you might have missed the front half of the conversation, because the conversation was, I said, and I was incorrect. I said, why would anybody run 1080 120? Most TVs in circulation are all capped at 60. They would get screen tearing, to which people pushed back on. They said, actually, Lono, lots of the TVs in circulation now, and the ones that have been sold for the past 5 years, can do 120 when they're getting a 1080 input. It would be no problem. It wouldn't get screen tearing. They're not capped at 60. They can only do 60 at their highest resolution, which most of the TVs would probably be 4K 60 TVs if they were sold in the last 3 years especially. And then you said, no, you can't walk into a store right now and buy a television capable of 120. The average person who just wants a TV isn't going to Best Buy or Walmart or Target over Walmart or Target. Yeah, but even the model we looked up at Target is capable of 120, and you said that it wasn't, but it technically is. It just has to receive an input lower than 4K, and it can do it, which is what we were originally talking about. We were talking about the Uncharted stats. So right now, yeah, I could get the Uncharted game and play it on a TV that I buy in the store at Target, and I could get the 1080 120. I could do it right now. Well, not right now. I could get the game on Friday. What I'm saying, half the frames in the True Motion are fake, but they still have to be shown. So that's 120 distinct images in 1 second. I don't know, Zubair. It's simulated though, so I don't know. I feel like there would be something that you're also assuming the technology works really well, right? On paper, you're probably right, Zubair, but from what people were saying, it doesn't look very good. The technology is probably not that great because it has to work on the fly. It has to work on the fly to simulate and guess what frames would look like in between frames 1 and 2. Should also clarify that being able to show 120 True Motion does not mean it can take in a 120 signal and display it. Fake 120 is still 120. No, it's not. Fake 120 is not 120 because it's guessing what the frame should look like. It's not going to look as good. You're assuming that the technology runs well. I have 120 True Motion and my TV is native 60. It still does 120 frames a second? It does if the technology works well. It's conditional. It's not automatically 120 frames per second. You're assuming that the technology they've developed is rock solid and gives you a true 120, barely noticeable. Yeah, I can't tell the difference between 120 native and 120 True Motion. Doubt. I'll go to both Walmart and Target, buy me today, and tell you if there are any 1080 or 4K TVs that have a 120. I wouldn't be hopeful, outside of expensive models recently released to do so. What do you mean? Eugene just said he had an old TV that he replaced that could do 1080 120. I don't understand. Playing on TrueMotion 120 creates a ton of input lag in gaming for me, though, so I never use it. Yeah, nobody's trying to get 120 for movies, so 120 is typically something people are trying to get for games. If it adds input lag, then no, it's not a genuine 120 if it does that. The tech does run really well. It knows where it starts from and where to end. It looks bad because we associate that high frame rate with video and not film, so it looks too real to us. Oh yeah, I don't like the higher frame rate in film. I think it looks freaking weird. It looks like a soap opera. These goalposts are running wild. Yeah, I do. I feel like the goalposts have moved a little bit. I think originally stated, we were talking about, are there TVs in stores right now capable of 120? And you said no, and we proved that they were. And now it's like, well, no, 4K 120 or they'll be really expensive or something. It's like, well, that's not what we were talking about. Like, the entire impetus for the conversation was the stats on the Uncharted remaster stating that you can get 1080 120, and I said, why would anybody do that, thinking that all TVs, most TVs, I mean, in circulation, are capped at 60? And people were basically like, no. They are capable of 120. When you lower the resolution, which is what the Uncharted, Uncharted is offering. The average, my point was for the average consumer already having them. So pre-next gen console, before people would actually be wanting one. Yeah, I don't know if that's what we were originally saying, though. So Call of Duty League has officially responded. We're sad to hear some of our players tested positive following the kickoff classic. The safety and well-being of our players is extremely important. All teams were required to provide the CDL with a plan to be tested for the sickie prior to traveling to Arlington. Upon arrival, all staff and players were also required to test and produce a negative test prior to entering the venue. Also in line with our policy last season, the Kickoff Classic had this mandate to wear masks within the venue. Player fan town and on-site personnel health and remain a top priority. So that guy called them out, saying that they didn't have safety precautions in place, and Call of Duty League is replying and saying, no, yeah, we did. We required people to produce the negative test before entering the venue. Now, if that's not true, then that's the problem. If they let people in regardless, like, that's the real question. Does Steam know that everybody's February budgets are spent? Yeah, they're launching the Steam Deck in February. It's gonna be tough. Gonna be a tough one. If I go lower my resolution, I'm going to get 120 on my Vizio TV that says 60 hertz in the stats like most TVs do. I doubt it. And my TV is only a year old. I don't know. You'd have to look up the model number. Variable refresh rates have been in existence for a while. You can get this TV right now from Walmart. It says Siege Master. It's a Vizio 65-inch 4K LED, and it's 120 hertz capable. Yeah, what I think what we pushed back on was the notion that, like, yeah, you can't go and buy them at the store right now, and we proved that you could. Well, now if you want to act like, well, the average consumer doesn't have one of those TVs, well, we'd have to look at TV sales for the last 3 years and look at where they've landed, like what brands, what tech has become, common, in the TV saturation market. We'd have to do that in order to dispute that statement that, like, well, no, the average person doesn't have one. Because again, the original idea was that I said, who would switch down to 1080 to get 120 when most TVs can't do that? And people were like, well, no, Lono, that would actually work on most televisions because of the variable refresh rates. Like, once you lower the resolution, you probably can get 120 on a lot of these TVs. Yeah, this game's capped at 60, so if you're tuning in for new Elden Ring new gameplay, we got off on a tangent here, a tangential debate about TVs and refresh rates, because the stats about the Uncharted Collector's Edition came out for the PS5, and I was confused as to why they were recommending people do the 1080 120, because I was thinking, well, most people are going to get screen tearing on their televisions, and I had people pushing back on that notion that, like, no, it would be fine, because when you drop it to the 1080, the 120 will work. Could you get it before this past year? Just walking into the store? I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the TV market the last couple of years. It sounded like people in chat were more educated, saying that for the last 3 years, starting in 2020 at least, that you could go in and buy televisions capable of 4K 60, which would then be capable of 120, 1080 120, is what people were saying. I'm not the right person to answer, because I was speaking just purely speculatively, like, oh yeah, why would anybody do that? You're going to get screen tearing. Eugene says, I got mine 6 years ago at Best Buy, walked right in. Yeah, I mean, Eugene just said the one he upgraded from could do it. The C1 from last year and the CX is this year's model. Yeah, I just wonder if maybe Distorted it wasn't advertised, so your argumentation is based off of the advertisements, because the advertisements don't say anything about this. They purely put 4K 60 or whatever they were advertising. So the question is not were they available, the question would be how much market saturation did they get. God of War on the Stream Deck, my gosh, good luck. Thanks for all the new subs, man. You guys helped us roll over the sub count, like count, and all kind of stuff today. Greatly appreciate it. I thought we got new members today. We didn't get any new members on this stream. Maybe it was in the morning. If you've tuned in for the Elden Ring new gameplay, we were letting that roll for a couple hours now, so we appreciate you guys tuning in for the new Elden Ring gameplay. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my streams throughout the week. Usually we're in this scene. Every Friday is From Friday, so if you're a big FromSoftware fan, this week we'll be discussing how they're talking about, like, is Elden Ring going to be quite a bit easier than other FromSoftware games, so we'll be debating that, and working our way through Sekiro for the first time. I've never actually played Sekiro all the way through. I am becoming a FromSoftware convert in preparation for Elden Ring. My current TV is 65 inches, 4K 120, 18 months old. It was $1,300 after taxes. I got a Samsung QLED with my Xbox One X on release. It does 4K 60, 1440, 120. The average person would never spend near that much on a single TV? What? 1,300? The average person doesn't care about next-gen consoles. Yeah, you have to think about the population of the people that own the PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. I feel like they would be the ones that would more likely own a television like that. Thank you. That's a nice comment. Thanks for doing so. I can listen to you the whole day. Good comments today on the Horizon Forbidden West episode. Off topic, says Henry, from monitors, and I just joined the stream, but does anybody know what time of day the game comes out? Some are saying EST, 6 p.m. on the 24th. Others are saying 12 a.m. on the 25th. Oh, golly, I don't know, Henry. I've not seen any official announcements about release windows from FromSoftware or Bandai. I've not seen anything. Maybe the official Elden Ring. Hang on. Let's check the official Elden Ring Twitter and see what they have to say. Let's see here. No, not seeing any tweets. Maybe their website says something. EldenRing.com. Please verify your age. Okay. No, I don't want your news. Coming February the 25th is what it says here on their website. What was your question? The 25th or the 26th? Oh, you're asking about the day before at 6 p.m. I don't know where you're getting that release window, my friend. I'm not seeing anything that talks about a release window. I just see coming February 25th, 2022, PS4, Xbox One, PC, PS5, the Xbox Series X and S. That's all it says. The Elden Ring Xbox official release is February the 24th at 12 a.m. Okay, so that can't be right. That can't be right. That would mean that it's releasing at midnight an entire day early? $12 a.m. on the 24th? It sounds like some of these storefronts have placeholders that might be causing confusion or speculation. That's possible. It's probably 12 a.m. on the 25th. That's what I'm thinking, Henry, right? Like 12 a.m. on the 25th, because that's midnight on the 25th. What? Midnight on the 24th doesn't make any sense. If you think people are willing to spend $1,300 on a TV that would spend $400 on a name brand, 65-inch 4K, you need to share with me whatever you're smoking. Well, but again, we're talking about people hunting for the best tech. If you're buying a PlayStation 5 or a Series X, they're probably within a spectrum of the consumer base that's more concerned about buying the top-of-the-line $1,300 televisions. As case in point with Eugene buying one, and just a second ago, somebody saying they bought like a really high-end television with their Xbox Series X. You can get a TV the size of a wall for a fraction of what a big screen TV used to cost. Oh, yeah, I remember the first time Best Buy was selling a plasma television. It was like $8,000, and they always broke, so no one bought them. It would likely release midnight on the East Coast, so playable West Coast by like 9 p.m. Oh, 9 p.m. on the 24th. Right, yeah, maybe. The whole time I was speaking about the average consumer, never once did I argue for gamers would be specifically looking for these TV. That would be stupid. But I was only chiming. No. I was only responding to the current debate about pricing. No, don't try and retroactively recreate the argument. That's not what I said. I was merely arguing against the notion that if somebody has a PS5 and cares about the Uncharted Remastered Edition, since you invoked the price, right? The original argument started because you said that finding TVs capable of 120 is incredibly rare and you can't just walk into a store and buy one. That's what started the debate. That has been dismissed 10 times over, provably. And now we're talking about price, but that's not what we originally were talking about. The reason everybody's ears perked up is because I made a remark about not being 120 capable, and people were correcting me on that statement. My original point was about the pricing of TVs. No, the reason we pushed back is because you stated that you can't just walk into a Target, Walmart, or a Best Buy. Maybe you didn't say Best Buy, but a Target or a Walmart and get a TV capable of 120. It's literally why I pulled up Target's website and tried to find TVs capable of 120, and we found one. I can go to the store right now and buy a TV capable of 120. That's why everybody pushed back on what you were saying. They were like, what do you mean? For the last couple of years or more, you've been able to go buy televisions capable of 120. Nobody took issue with pricing or the average consumer is going to buy the 500 model over the 1300 model. Nobody would have disputed that because that's pretty conventional wisdom. We disputed the availability of TVs capable of 120. Go back, I literally said $1,500 to $2,000 TV, then it devolved into other stuff. But the TV I found capable of 120 was like $600 to $700. So again, I don't know what you're on about. I got a TV from Best Buy that does 4K 60, 1080, 120, and it cost me $400. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we're passing in the night. Like, I'm not sure if you thought something and pulled your guns from your holsters and started arguing a point that maybe you didn't fully understand, but like even Techno's saying he got a TV that can do it for $400. The entire debate centered around the idea of, are there televisions available that can do 120? And all day, all afternoon, we've had people chiming in chat talking about reasonable price televisions they bought this year or 2 years ago that can do 120. I brought up price, and then I brought up availability because of the price. I assumed it was being understood as a single argument, and I proved your argument false. Now I'm getting irritated. I proved that false. I found a television on Target that I can buy in the store right now for $700, disproving both points. Availability. It's available. I can go buy it. Price. It's $700. I literally said not places like Best Buy. The TV I found was at Target. I am so confused. I found I found a TV at Target capable of 120 for $700. That proves the price thing wrong, and it proves the availability thing wrong. That's why I'm extremely confused what we're even arguing about now. Like, I don't know. I feel like the goalposts have slid off the planet, and I don't even know what we're talking about now. Yeah, and the average person not buying a television at Best Buy, like, since when? Like, that's a common consumer location for electronic purchases. Like, I don't understand that either. 1080p 120 has been around since 2009. Like, yeah, see what I'm saying? This argument is so stupid. The whole thing started because we were talking about televisions capable of 120 because I spoke ignorantly and said that the average person doesn't have a TV in their home capable of doing the 120, so why would they do 1080 120? They would get tearing, which is what people corrected me on. And Akuta Papa just showed that, like, a 1080p 120 has been around since 2009, over a decade. So yeah, the average person right now, if they plugged in their PlayStation 5 to their TV and they booted up the 1080 120, it would work. It would work. Walking in is not the same as looking online. I already disputed this. See, this is what's getting frustrated. You're ignoring what I'm saying and you're making me repeat myself to try to wear me down. And I find that very irritating. I already corrected you on that. It literally said I could walk into the Jefferson location and buy it right now. It's in the store. I already said that. So now I'm getting irritated because you're doing the classic argumentation method of wearing somebody down by ignoring what they say and making them repeat themselves. I literally already spoke to that. So I found a TV that can do 120 for $700 in the store right now. Shut the frick up. That's every point you made. Availability, check. Price, check. In store, check. Shut up. Gee, many Christmas, it's frustrating. I was trying to be nice. You spoke out of turn and you've been proven wrong. So quit. You can restate things 8 times in different ways. You were wrong. You were wrong. For over a decade, there's been televisions in circulation that can do 120 1080, which is what the Uncharted game offers, which was the beginning of the entire discussion. Just stop. It's so frustrating when somebody can't just admit they were wrong. I'm admitting I was wrong. I admitted I was wrong. I said, yeah, I guess TVs are capable of 120. I spoke out of turn. It's so liberating. Just let go of a dumb statement. I said something dumb. I thought, who would do 1080, 120 in Uncharted? Who would do that? Who? Who would do that? And I got proven wrong. I was incorrect. I look online too, and they don't have the products in the store. That's why I don't accept that point. It said it was in the store. It said the phrase in store. It showed me the zip code of the store. Because it'll list the stores that are available. And it had one that said available in store. It had one that said it wasn't available, but I could have it shipped. It literally said that. My wife and I use Target for all kind of orders, and when it says in store, it's there. It checks the inventory. It says it. Like, they literally, what they'll do on Target, and they'll do it on Best Buy too, is they'll list like the locations below. I'm amazed you can get 1080 120. It sounds horrible. It depends on the TV size. It depends on if it's like a 40 or 42 inch television, it probably looks fine. I had a 42 inch 720 plasma for years. The TV that you guys replaced was like a 720p plasma. It was super old. I thought it looked fine because it wasn't very big. You get up in the 55 inch television, 60 inch televisions, and then it's going to look pretty bad. So it does it for me when I look. They tell me in store that it gets shipped to them. Happened to me multiple times with electronics. Maybe your experience. So now you're using anecdotal evidence to dodge the fact that many people have chimed in that these televisions are readily available in stores at affordable prices. So now it's like, well, when I did it, they didn't actually have it in store. Oh, I don't care about your anecdotal evidence. They're in stores right now. You can walk in and buy them. Same day pickup. Yeah, Techno just found one at Best Buy. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why everyone was so confused by your original point. These TVs are available. They're not super expensive. They can do 120. That's what the entire argument centered around. None of your points are standing. You can buy a TV right now in a store capable of 120 that isn't super expensive. It's $700. Like this has not been a thing for 4 years. Yes, that's why everybody was so confused. Here's TVs that Paul just found from 2018, capable of 120. A Sony AF-OLED, an LG 5K 9000 is capable of 120. An LG C8 OLED is capable of 120. A Samsung Q9FN and the Q9 and the Q9F QLED came out in 2018, can do 120. The Samsung, another Samsung, 120, 120, 120, 120. These are 4-year-old televisions. Jiminy frickin' Christmas. I'm telling you, when I looked online and what the actual workers told me. Distorted, I guarantee you what I think the problem is you're seeing exactly what I found on Target. You're seeing the surface level tech. And what did I see? 4K, 60 hertz native, 120 simulated or whatever. But then when you look at the actual websites that break down the technical prowess of the televisions, they can do 120. They just don't advertise it. Why are they going to advertise being able to do 1440, 120 when everybody's looking for 4K? I think it's the advertisements. That's what I mean. Like, I think maybe you're doing the same thing I did. I initially thought that you were correct. I pulled up Target and I was like, this TV says 60 hertz native, 120 simulated or whatever the frick, true motion, 120 true motion. But then somebody looked the television up on a tech site that analyzes the actual, what the capabilities of the television are, and it can do 120. There's plenty of TVs that can do 1440, 120 in circulation right now. They don't advertise it. They advertise what? 4K 60, 4K 60, 4K 60, boom, boom, boom. So you're going to go to a Walmart or a Target, and the advertisements, the little placard on the board or their website's not going to say that it can do that, but it can, and that's what people were pushing back on. They were like, what are you talking about? Of course you can do that. That's been around for years. Paul just found a ton of televisions from 2018 that can do 120. This is why I think everybody perked up and why it's been a debate for the last hour. Because it's like, what do you mean? This stuff's been readily available for years. Ultra Motion Pro Deluxe Enhanced. That's right. Can a 50-inch really do 120? Mine's a 4K 60. Yeah, it probably can. Yeah, RXR. You just have to feed it a signal at a lower resolution. I guarantee you can feed it 1440 and it'll do 120. Or 1080 120 without breaking a sweat. Tons of these televisions have variable refresh rates. It just depends on the resolution that you send it. It's not advertised on the packaging. How do you know a 60 hertz TV can do 120 without testing it? That's why Siege Master went to one of the websites that do just that. You have to go to an actual website that tests them. He meant the average consumer can't walk into a Target that is HDR 1000 with 4K 120 native or below 1300. Don't look at Best Buy though. 1080p 120 has never really been advertised. It's always been aimed at gamers. What got advertised was True Motion. I think that's why we were all so confused, because I think if you're looking at the websites, I proved that, did I not? If you go to Target right now, you can't find a 120 on their website, but that's not true. The televisions I found are capable of 120. It's just not on the site. You scroll down to the tech and it says native refresh 60. Why? Because the native resolution is set really high. So you plug in a PlayStation or something, a PS5, and you send it a 1440 and it can do 120. It has the ability to. It's variable, just like a monitor is. I have monitors right now in my home that are a little bit older, and they can do 120 if I lower everything to 1080. I have one on the floor over there. I remember using it in Destiny. But they don't advertise that. I think that's what I mean. I think a lot of the televisions, they don't put it on the specs on Target's website, Walmart's website, or even like the little placard like piece of paper that they print out. There's no way it's on there. What they don't you got to find a tech site that breaks down the television's capabilities. And that's why Paul finds a listing, a really long listing, of 4-year-old televisions capable of 120. Why? Well, because you have to feed it a resolution that allows for that to happen, just like my really old monitor can do 120 as long as I feed it 1080. So we went round and round on this because I think there was a fundamental misunderstanding. Because my initial statement, I made a statement that was ignorant. I said, why would anybody do 1080, 120? Won't they get screen tearing? That's what I said. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, most of the TVs out there are 60 hertz television. So if you feed it a 1080, 120 signal, you're going to get screen tearing. And everybody corrected me. They're like, no, Lono. Like, since 2018 or so, most of the television sold would be able to do a 1080, 120 just fine. I mean, if you buy a TV and it says 60 hertz, but it can technically do 120, we are counting those as 120 TVs. I concede my point. It wasn't even me that was pushing back Distorted. I was researching it right along with you. I went to Target. I was like, okay, can I falsify his position or can I prove his position true? And I guarantee you, I proved your position true kind of, because Target literally said 60 hertz native. They all said the same thing, 60 hertz, 60 hertz, 60 hertz native. So if you spend the afternoon researching it, that's what you would have concluded. Lono, you can't buy 120 televisions at Target. I just looked at them all. They all say 60 hertz native. But if you go to a tech site that breaks down the TV's capabilities, you'd be like, oh no, they can do 120. They could do 1440 120. They could do 1080 120. As long as it's fed a lower resolution signal, the refresh rate can dynamically go up. If you send it a 1440 120 signal. That's why the more educated guys in chat than me, they're more educated on TV technology than me, that's why they were pushing back and be like, what the frick are you talking about? Really affordable televisions can do 120 right now. A couple people were like, I bought one a couple years ago. Unless the box says 120, I didn't count it as the 120. See? We were passing in the night. That's why. That's why we were not understanding each other. That's why I spoke. That's what I'm saying. That's why I spoke ignorantly. I was under the same assumption that you were under, that the average television's capped at 60, unless you really spend the buku bucks. That's what I thought. I thought, man, these people are going to set their Uncharted remastered edition. They're going to set it to 1080 120, and they're going to get screen tearing. I was operating under the same assumption that you were. That all these TVs are they for the last however long, they're all 60. The tech specs are listed on the manufacturer's site. Walmart's only advertising what's popular for your general population TV watchers, 4K HDR. That's why I immediately took an interest, because Eugene, trust me, they bought me the freaking spaceship television on the other side of the wall in my television. And they did all the research, and Eugene and Gritter and all these guys, they were spouting off all this stuff. I am a frickin' boomer when it comes to that stuff. I don't pay attention to any of it. I walk through Target and Costco, and I'm like, ooh, that's pretty. Oh, that's affordable. And my wife would say no. That's generally my expertise with television technology the last 5 years. We had a television that we bought 1 year into our marriage, 14 years ago. You guys replaced like a 13-year-old television. I didn't care. It worked. We watched a couple shows in the evening or a movie now and then, and that was totally fine. You guys brought this old man into the future. You know what I mean? And I had no idea. And that's why when Eugene started chiming in, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Eugene really knows about TV technology. Like, it's something he's done a lot of research on. So when he started saying what he was saying, I was like, well, hang on a minute. I think I might have been wrong here. And that's why I started researching your claims. I was like, I think you might be wrong that these TVs are in greater circulation than we thought. To be fair, you're a boomer when it comes to lots of stuff. Yeah, like trying to make a new Twitter account. Like trying to make a new Twitter account. That's why I was getting aggravated with you. I was like, usually you play fair. You play fair, Distorted. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, why do you keep saying this stuff? Like, I thought you were trying to exhaust me. when somebody tries to exhaust me by repeating stuff, I get really aggravated. I was like, you usually play fair. What is happening right now? You're a good sparring partner. That's why I was bewildered. Right there with you. I bought a new TV last summer after I got tired of my plasma being a furnace during the summer. Oh, yeah. That plasma gets hot, boy. Ooh, it gets hot. You go up and put your hand next to it. You're like, oh. At our old place, it would make the room that we had it in, it would make it warm. Like our living room, the thermostat was next to the television. So it would make the air conditioner just constantly kick on. Because like the TV would be on and generating heat, and the air conditioner would think, I can't cool the house down because the stupid television was so hot. I was trying to play fair. I was very confident in my point. Well, I understand now why you were so confident. I do. I get it. Because if I'd have spent all afternoon looking up TVs on these websites, I'd have thought the same thing you thought. I'd have been on your side. I'd been like, bro, I just looked up 25 different TVs. They all said 60 hertz. I'd have been right there with you. You guys should see how he responds to the repetitious thing off stream. It's hilarious. What repetitious thing? What are you referring to, creature? I tried to say early on, I thought you weren't only looking at advertised marketing specs versus the tech sheets. Well, that's what was so interesting, Eugene, is there was a button on Target and I pushed it, and there was literally tech specs a mile long. Weight, dimensions, all this stuff. And I thought, why on earth wouldn't you have that listed there? That seems awfully stupid. I wasn't just looking at like, you know, the first 4 bullet points they put. I wasn't looking at like the first 4 marketing bullet points. I was looking at the dadgum spec sheet. I'm like, why is it saying this? It doesn't say what Siege Master found. I'm like, why would it be there? It was literally like 30 lines deep of specs. It was like honestly hard to look at, especially for somebody who doesn't like to read. When you try to argue with me and I just keep repeating myself, I get freaking fired up. Me and Creature argue like an old married couple some afternoons. Even those don't list everything? Well, clearly not. Because Siege Master looked up the television and he found more stats on it that wasn't listed there. It's just, you know. Best Buy offers those spec sheets too. Is Discord down? No. I'm in there right now. 3 people are listening. I got, let me see. Test? Nope, it is. My test is red. Yeah. My test is red, and Fastflex just posted something, but my test is red, so something's going on. I typed test, and it's just red. You can hear me, but chat's down. Yeah, I just tried typing, and it's there's Sven. Sven's able to talk. It might be getting better. Yeah. Mine's now, instead of red, it's just gray and chilling. Yeah, it's acting up. I feel really bad for everybody that tuned in for Elden Ring new gameplay. Listen, if you clicked for the Elden Ring new gameplay, we looped it for the last couple of hours. You're just going to have to rewind the video. I really apologize. If you tuned in for FromSoftware coverage or Elden Ring new gameplay, we got well off the train tracks today. So hit subscribe and the bell button if you haven't already. We hit another milestone today of 10,000.8 subs, inching our way closer to 11,000 subs. Every Friday we cover FromSoftware games, so we'll be doing another Elden Ring discussion this Friday about, is it going to be easier? Is it going to be the easiest FromSoftware game? And what does that mean for the fans? What does that mean for the franchise? So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure that you are... Make sure you're here this Friday. We typically, in the afternoons, I send you guys over to a video that we uploaded, but I want to do something a little bit different today, okay? I'm going to send you over to a stream of Ginger. He's going to be discussing the the YouTube gaming changes, and he's going to watch our video that we posted today about 3 big YouTube executives left the company. So make sure you're subscribed to Split Screen. It's our larger channel, 47,000 subs. Make sure you're subscribed to Split Screen. Ginger's going to be watching that video that we made and discussing it with his audience, okay? So I'm going to put a link in chat. Usually in the afternoons, I send you over to a video that we've uploaded. Tomorrow, don't forget this, tomorrow will be one of the first Split Screen live streams over there in the afternoon. We are going to do the first episode of Drop Die Cast, okay? So make sure you're here tomorrow. We'll have a great discussion in the morning. We'll do some talks and breakdowns here of gaming news, and then we'll head over to Split Screen for the first episode of Drop Die Cast, where we drop into a battle royale, we die, and then I shoutcast the random people that it ends up letting me spectate. So make sure you're subscribed here to this channel. Make sure you have smashed the like button, and we only need 24 more likes for 300. There's got to be 24 of you that haven't smashed that thumbs up button yet. Give me a thumbs up on your way out. I'm going to put a link in chat, okay? Go give our man Ginger some love. He's going to be discussing the YouTube gaming changes today, and then he'll be watching my video about it, all right, over on Split Screen. So there's a YouTube link in chat. It's pinned at the top. It's super helpful when we end our day and we go watch a video or go support something at the end of our day. There's a bunch of you here. Use the next 10 to 20 minutes of your day to support another creator and to support some good content, all right? Nothing but love for Distorted and Eugene. Great debate, hilarious at the same time, as equally as it was a little frustrating, but it was a blast. It was a fiery way to end the day, and I'm sure the FromSoftware fans were enjoying it like a good spar in their game. So click the link in chat. I'll see you guys over there in Ginger's chat. All right, let's head over there.